And once again, a huge shout out to all of our supporters over at patreon.com/878 Survivor FM. Our $5 supporters, our editors, thank you all so much. Our production managers, our $10 supporters, Florida, Big Dog, Shane Murphy, Tank Dazza, Hawks Hammer, Cyanotic, our producers, Jake Snow and Red Freedom. Thank you all so much for your continued support, as well as all of our YouTube members. Kenny Baker, we've got a baby now, Kenny, 9 months. King of Lobar, 5 months. Cinnamon, 4 months. Muddy Track Links for 2 months. And Jake is Zero Cool at 1 month. All of you are legends who help the show go on each and every week. Thank you all for your support, even just by watching or listening each week to the podcast. And we hope you enjoy this week's show. As always, I do want to shout out all of the team behind the show who, without their help, it wouldn't be possible. Obviously myself, Marks, that lad, Archie, Foxypote, DanceofJesus, Jacob Mango, Daone, and Spud from DayZ Down Under. All of their links are in the description. Please go check them out and give them some support. All the best and enjoy the show. And we are live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And welcome to episode 98 of the DayZ podcast, ladies and gentlemen. We are joined, as always, by Marks and Lad. How you doing, boys?
Doing good.
Not bad.
Good to have you both here. But the lady of the moment, the one, the only, from the golden age of DayZ, Echoics, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Good to have you, and good to see you back in the community after all this time as well.
Yeah. Yep. It's been a while.
What were you doing with yourself? When did you stop playing DayZ?
It was roughly around like 2018.
Yep.
And then I didn't come back until almost like the end of last year. So I was going to school to be a nurse.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I went to school to be a nurse. I was going to school. Spoiler, I'm not a nurse, so it didn't work out. But that was the idea. And yeah, I didn't really play. I tried to dabble in DayZ a couple times over the years, but I pretty much was completely away that whole time.
2018, I thought so. 2018 was the low light of DayZ when the numbers just plummeted down to the all-time low of just over 3,500. It was a rough time back then, wasn't it, mate?
It was. I actually remember one time around that time I looked at, and I mean it was later in the night, but I looked at the Twitch directory for DayZ, and there was 5 total viewers. Nobody was streaming, nobody was playing. It was just a really crazy time for the game.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
It's 4 years ago. It almost seems like forever, but at the same time, it doesn't. It for those of us who were playing back then, and especially making content, it was a rough time to be a DayZ player.
Yeah, and I think the game was in a it's improved a lot since then.
Be honest, mate. You can be honest. We're all DayZ fans. We all love this game. We like to say, we've got a few little running jokes here. It's unintended game features, not bugs, and that part of the allure of DayZ when you look back, and you were playing back in the early access days. You're probably like the rest of us, and you still remember with a certain fondness almost every time you go into a house and you see a step and you're like, oh shit, back in the day that was fucking rolling the dice of death, or at the very best broken legs. But you do miss some of those terrible parts of what DayZ was back then, don't you? In a weird way.
You remember the fire station stairs? How dangerous those were? Yep. You didn't go on the fire station stairs.
There were so many little aspects of the game back then that we've moved on from. But you've come back now. What do you think of it now compared to what it was back then?
It's been insane. I mean, it's still DayZ. You have those things, like I rolled through the world yesterday, just fell through the earth, going underneath the fence. But I think sometimes we kind of forget how much has actually changed and how much better it actually is.
Yeah.
Because you look back at it and you're like, the UI, holy shit, the UI was terrible. I'm feeling slightly hungry. You know what I mean? Like, just the overall UI is so much better. The community maps, the modding, it's just opened an insane world to the game.
What's been the circle that you used to run with back then? What's been their? I imagine you still chat with some of them. What are their thoughts on DayZ these days?
I'm not 100% sure. I don't think they have played as much as, because when I came back, I've just been full send. I've been trying to play every map, trying to experience everything that's new. And I don't think they've had the chance to do all of that yet. And so I think that you don't really get to see how much better the game is until you experience all the creativity from the community map makers, just how much has, love and passion and everything has gone into the game since the old days. So it's kind of like an all-encompassing thing, right, to experience it.
I like this comment in chat there. The tall guard tower has the highest KD of all things in the game. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. And it still does. It just yeets you every now and then. I've learnt that the only way to go down that guard tower is crouched. If you go down even, just a slow jog, and the next thing you just get yeeted across the map and you're dead, lying in a broken heap or broken legs at the very least. But for those who don't know, Echo is one of the OGs of DayZ Standalone. Did you play the mod beforehand, Echo?
I didn't play the mod, but I started playing only like a couple months after Standalone launched.
So basically the same as me. I think I was February when I finally got a PC that could handle the game. I was addicted to watching it, but it was like many people. DayZ's the game that made me get a gaming PC. Technically didn't get myself one, got my son one that I would use as well. So,
good excuse.
That works.
Yeah. But she played with, pretty much when you think back to, other than, Frankie, of course, but when you think back to the early days of Standalone, you've got Mr. Blackout, Mr. Moon, KD Wolf, Jam, Echo. Oh, sorry, Echo. You are Echo. Potato, KD Wolf. Just all of those people who were running with this game because, as we all remember, Frankie stepped away from it. He didn't like DayZ Standalone and how buggy and broken it was. But this new wave of creators just came out and started showing what was possible with the game. So, Echo was even present at that infamous PAX panel where Moon and Ciao turned up, rip-roaring, fucking drunk, and that's how big she was back in the day in the community, weren't you, buddy?
Yeah. I mean, it was huge. No, I mean, it's weird to think back because, and especially now, I always say like DayZ's the biggest small community that is out there.
Yep.
And it's so much bigger now. But back then, there was kind of, the amount of people who actually streamed and played the game and kind of showcased the game was much, much, much smaller than it is now. So to be like one of those, I guess, main content creators, I'm very grateful that I was. I've been humbled by that. But I was very, very involved in everything that was DayZ.
Well, that was it. But even back then, because I remember...
Thank you, lad. I was just trying to do that. That's why I was frozen. No, I do not want to buy followers. Go fuck yourself.
I'll buy some.
Yeah, because... Oh, shut up. You don't need to. But I remember because when Mod was out and then Standalone came out, I was actually coming out of secondary school secondary school. Yeah, secondary school, going into college, and then Standalone came out, and I was really interested in it at the time. I used to watch Frankie on PC all the goddamn time. And I've said on previous podcasts, but one of my close friends who I grew up with from nursery to even to now, he would talk about his days in the mod, and I was like, oh, I need to get a PC, but I didn't even get a gaming PC until about 2015.
Yep.
And one of the first games that I got was DayZ, and I remember the patch, it was 0.59, roughly around that time. And I was like, oh, this game's so shit.
Yeah.
I loved it, but it was obviously, as everybody during that time, it was a love-hate relationship kind of thing. But it's so nice to see it, and I can only assume for yourself as well, with you being away for so long, to come back to see this completely, essentially brand new game with so many different features and the modding capabilities. It must have really, really expanded everything for you.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, just the amount and kind of, just the fact that you can play DayZ so many different ways. But I mean, back then it was like we would hop on Trinaris. That was it. It was just Trinaris, and we put thousands of hours on Trinaris. And it was just finding hoping.
Let's clarify. That was just vanilla Cherners. There was no winter Cherners. Yep. There was no modded maps or the DayZ expansion. It was just the same fucking map for everyone. Yep.
And I put over 5,000 hours at that time on just Chernars. Vanilla Chernars. I would do 24-hour streams, and I'd be like, all right, guys, I'm going to be I'm going to switch it up. I play DayZ the full 24 hours. I couldn't get away. I mean, even then, how shit it was, and how easy it was to die to something, in the game. We all just loved DayZ. I mean, and I think that's one thing that I love about DayZ is you still have that authentic feel that DayZ delivers. An experience in the game that no other game does. So even when the game was shit back then, and you get the same feeling now. So it's just, it's unique.
One of the things I love about you, mate, is that you were part of the Cool Kid crew back then, and you've just slid so easily back into this new bunch. None of your peers are still playing the game that I can think of off the top of my head. KD came back for a little bit and was dabbling in it, and Mr. B dabbles in it every now and then, but that's about the only ones. It's a whole new bunch of people. There's new kings and queens of DayZ all around you. Yeah. And, we got to see you absolutely kill it in the Queens of DayZ or Queens of the Castle event. And it's almost, like a glove. You just fit in like a glove again, mate.
Thank you. I will say, I mean, it was a big difference because back then, none of us ever played alone, right? We always played in a group. And it wasn't, myself and Jam. It was myself and KD or myself and B or the three of us, or we'd add Moon in, or, we were always playing together. And so I really came accustomed to playing DayZ like that and having a group of just friendship time all the time, every time I played. So when I came back, I honestly didn't know anybody. I had no friends. And so I'm so grateful that everybody has been so nice to me and so inviting. Because in just, a few short months, I have made and played with so many cool people from the community, so many creators, whether they're big or small. And I've met just so many awesome people. And I'm really glad that they opened me with open arms because, when I came back, I just hopped on a server by myself and just played. And I've met people through game and still play with them. And I've met people, through Twitch and play with them now. So, yeah.
We love Sondra.
Oh, yeah. Sondra. My in-game name.
you say that with almost a British inflection.
Sondra. Yeah.
Sondra. Good morning, Sondra.
So what's probably been the biggest eye-opening thing for you now having come back to the game?
So, I mean, there's a few different things. I would say, like, if we go on like the Twitch side of things, it's quite different in like meta. Meta wasn't a thing back then. You know, now nobody wants to know at the time, you know, keep it immersive and organic. And I say kind of leading to that's something that's changed a lot, because back then if someone killed us or something, it'd be like, oh, that was so-and-so who killed you, or hey, so-and-so's down the road. And it was just kind of normal. And I think it was just because maybe there was a lot smaller of a group of people kind of always playing. So that's really different in like the Twitch side of things. And then as for the game, I mean, so much has changed. So much has changed. It feels like the same game, right? It just feels, it feels so much better just overall. The gunplay.
You did a 24-hour stream back then, and when you consider that was pretty much just playing vanilla, whereas now you could do a 24-hour stream and you could go play deathmatch, you could go play a key card server, then you could go play a vanilla server, then you could go play a hardcore server. You can play different maps, you could play Essica, you could play Banov, you can mix it up a lot more now in DayZ than you could before.
Oh yeah. I mean, just yesterday I did Melkart, then Essica, then Malls, then back to Essica. So, I mean, there's so much that you can do. And just the creativity in, you know, having the objective-based maps, being like, okay, you know, I want to go into Malsk, I want to get to Lantia, or I want to get to A3, or I want to go on ISTech and I want to get the key card, and you know, it just gives you so much more to do. And then the beauty of it is, if you want to run around and just PvP or interact, you can do that too. So you have that, you know, opportunity to spend hours and hours and hours trying to like reach your goal of something.
Yep.
But if you don't, that's okay as well.
It's all about the journey, and the crazy shit that can happen in the game, whether it be, you know, back in the day, a lot of that craziness came from those unintended game features. Now a lot of the craziness comes from the people you meet, as opposed to, you know, you still get some people, or, you know, not some people, but there are still some bugs. You know, you said you went under a fence the other day and ended up going through the earth, but for the most part, it's so much more stable and better.
Oh yeah. And I was thinking about this before today, before we started, just the community aspect of the servers, you know, having those strong communities, because people always ask me like, okay, how many hours do you have ideally? And I'm like, I actually don't really know. I counted. So we used to play on like 4 or 5 different accounts, because we were on these, you know, official servers, and you would get on and someone would come and stream snipe you, or there was a ton of hackers. I don't know if you guys remember Iggy, the hacker. He was always wearing a skull mask and playing Iggy Azalea. Do you remember? Yeah.
Yep.
Iggy, we used to call him just Iggy. And Iggy used to follow us around. So once Iggy found us, we'd swap to a different account, and then it would take them longer to find us again. So all of my hours are spread out over multiple accounts. But that was kind of just something all of us did, you know, all of us had to have multiple accounts, had to, you know, we didn't play first person servers very often, because there was only maybe ever one populated first person server. So if we were on a first person server, there's only one that's busy, they'd automatically know where we were. So just having the communities that take care of the people who play on their servers, and having that stability to play on a server and know that, you know, you're going to have a good experience. Sure, some bad apples, you know, slide through, but they always take care of them. So I think that's probably one of the biggest things. That's a huge change, and I think in a really positive way.
I got a question on that note. Which was worse, or which is worse? The hackers from back in the day, or the hackers that you run into nowadays? I've never ran into a hacker back on the early days, but I've run into a handful of them on, you know, today's version of the game. Which were the worst?
I haven't run into a ton. I think I've only ran into maybe 2 since I've come back. I I would say they were probably worse back then because they were relentless. And there was no community support to be like, if someone was hacking and you're playing on a server, it was just like, well, shit, let's just hop to a different server. You couldn't go to the admins and say, hey, this guy's hacking, and he would get banned. And then you could still continue to have a good experience.
Well, Echo, you remember as well, back in the day, at one stage there, the only really defense that people had was Brian Hicks being in your stream and watching, and then he would teleport the hacker or cheater out into the middle of the ocean or something like that. There wasn't the tools that we had these days. Brian used to spend all night, staying up and watching you guys and girls playing and trying to provide some sort of remedy for some of the hacks back then. You'd probably remember the Arrow Storm. That you'd be walking along and then just this hail of arrows would just land all around you and on you, and then there was the they could nuke the server.
Explosion one.
Yeah. The Arrow Storm was pretty insane, and then like I even remember the hacker battles. You'd get hackers fighting each other on the servers, and it was like watching gods fight because you pretty much just sit up on the hill and you watch these two hackers, and there's just grenades going off everywhere, and it quite often crash the server. But they're flying; they could fly and they could do everything. They were just insane.
Jesus. Yeah. It's mad to think that back then they had no proper tools to ban hackers or stuff like that. All they could do was teleport them out, and of course they're going to get back onto land at some stage. So and then they just have to do it all over again. It's crazy. It's
like in everything. It's always a constant battle. The hackers are always inventing new stuff. There's new stuff out there now that they're still trying to combat. But back then it was some real Wild West days, wasn't it, Echo?
Oh my gosh, yeah, it was crazy. And Iggy was one that most of the time would just fuck with us, but it was more annoying because we couldn't play. They would just follow us around, so they wouldn't kill us, but they just wanted to suck up our time, essentially.
There was Campbell as well, or Cameron, or whatever his name was as well. Was
there
another
was
big one.
One, yeah. Oh God, the voice. I can still picture the voice perfect. I just remember this one time, because typically the hackers would be on the coast, right? You'd be in Cherno or Electro or something like that. But I remember this one time, all of us, the main group of us and Dato were at Northwest. And not very often would you get the hackers to follow you up to Northwest. And I just remember the panic when we realized the hacker was there. We would just try to log off as soon as possible, try to preserve our gear, try to get onto a different server. But he kept following us, and he would go, crush a can for J. Owen. Hey, crush a can for J. Owen. He would just repeat that over and over again over VoIP. And then he would make YouTube videos of him finding streamers, telling them to crush a can for J. Owen, and then put it on his YouTube. I don't know. He was the worst of them all. And I can just picture this high-pitched, little nasally voice, crush a can for J. Owen. He was the worst of them all. I hated him so much.
Oh, my God. But some of them just loved doing things like that. They don't use their hacks so much for nefarious. They use them to just be able to get their 5 seconds of fame popping up on someone's stream. And, it's just, oh.
Yeah. So there was infamous hackers. Yeah, there was just, they had their little things that they would do and follow us around, and we would swap to another account and hope they didn't find us there. I mean, we had to take so many precautions. No friends on the friends list, always offline, sending the IP addresses through messages.
Not showing your loading screen.
Yeah, not showing your loading screen, because it just so many things. And when you think back to how complicated it was to stream DayZ back then.
Turn off server messages as well.
Yep. You couldn't do anything. Remember, because you used to be able to check the player list, I think, too. So you couldn't actually accidentally hit the player list, because if they saw one name on there, they'd be able to find you. I would say now it's so much more chill to just stream DayZ. You just log on a server, you just play.
Yep. And like Dab said in chat there, with server shared ban lists on CF Cloud and the devs fixing stuff actively, it's so much better now. Still issues, but every game has issues. Every game will have issues, but it is so much better now. It has come so far. When you play back in those very early access days and you see people complaining, you just kind of think, I hate to say it, but back in my day, mate, it was a lot fucking worse. You've got nothing to fucking complain about these days.
Yeah, you have no idea.
I hate saying that because I'm the old guy of the fucking show, and back in my day, and old man shakes fist at the sky sort of thing. But it is so much better now, so much better. But there's a weird part of you that misses it still, isn't there, Echo?
Yeah, it's the nostalgia, right?
Yes. Rose tinted glasses, but
yeah. And I think me taking a break has almost kind of given me that again, because when I first started playing DayZ, so I remember I've raided in WoW for as long as I can remember, and that's actually what I started streaming when I very first started. And one of my guild mates kept ditching raid. He was never there. And we're like, dude, where are you at? Like, where the hell have you been? He's like, I'm playing this like new game called DayZ. And we're like, what? And so another guildmate of mine hopped on DayZ, no idea what it was. I wasn't familiar with the mod, started playing, and the rest is history. So just experiencing it from pretty much the ground up, because like started playing 2 months in after Standalone launched, and starting from there and just experiencing it, you immersed yourself in it, and then taking a break and coming back and it being almost a new game with the core DayZ, it's kind of built that up again for me to like, I feel like I do then just eat, sleep, dream DayZ, DayZ dreams like all the time.
Yep.
So it's been really, really nice because I did past 2 streams, I played for 11 hours, 13 hours, and I could play for longer. So I'm still I'm in the thick of it for sure.
Yeah, it bloody sounds it. Jesus Christ.
And there's still so much I haven't done. That's the crazy thing. I've probably put 1,500 hours in since I came back, and I've, haven't played a ton of Nemals. There's so much I can do on Nemals. There's still parts of the other maps that I'm still exploring. So there's just so much content.
Well, that's it. Coming. These days, it's god, yeah. But that's the thing these days. It's, before during the alpha days, you could literally do everything you possibly could in that game, with a couple of thousand hours, if that, of playtime, but with now, it's like you literally can't finish the game at all. With just as we were saying, with the amount of maps, like getting to playing on the mosque, getting to Lantia, Jesus Christ, it's a pain in the arse, but it's so worth it. And doing the same kind of thing on Banov and Iztech, it's like it's also worth it, and the amount of time that's gone into designing this content for hundreds of thousands of players now. It really, when modding came in, it just breathed that last bit of fresh air that DayZ needed, and thank fuck it's not going anywhere.
No, it's definitely what it needed. It needed it bad. And Trinars is still one of my favorite maps, right? But I think it's a nostalgia thing as well. And I think it has a great progression of the map, like it's well balanced. But when you see you see people put thousands of hours on Namalsk and not get to Lantia yet, And I was on Banov the other day, and with that map being so big, you can spend hundreds of hours doing everything on Banov.
Yep. I still haven't found that tree. I've seen it, but I still haven't found that tree that's in the canyon. I don't even know where it is, and don't fucking tell me, anyone, because I want to find that one day. But it's a monster map. It's a massive map. And then you go to the other extreme and you get something like Stewart Island, which I'm actually pumping a lot of hours into at the moment.
It's tiny.
Yeah, it's a tiny little map, but I'm still finding new places on that. And it's just,
it's crazy.
It's a legacy of the game, just how many years it's lasted. We've seen the shit show that was 2021 for games, all these AAA titles coming out that were absolutely shite, And you go and look at the top games on Steam charts, and there's just so many games: Counter-Strike Go, DayZ, Rust, all these games that came out years ago that are still rocking.
Yeah. We were talking about that yesterday in my stream. Because you still get occasional people who are like, oh, I think back in the day, DayZ kind of had a bad rap.
Yeah.
For as much as people would play, it was like, oh, it's the running simulator. Oh, you still play this buggy ass game. Like, you'd get comments like that all the time. But I think, and you still occasionally get people that are like, is DayZ worth it? But I think DayZ is in a better light, even though it is still buggy. But I was just talking about, think about how many, I'm a survival game fiend. I love survival games, sandbox survival games. I've tried all of them. And I think DayZ is really the only one that's really stood up over the years. I mean, you have Miscreated.
Miscreated, yep.
Yeah, I mean, I loved Miscreated. I think that it had a lot of really unique aspects to it, like the dynamic weather, like tornadoes. The map was really cool. The character models were a little janky. The gunplay wasn't as solid as DayZ, and it had a few other issues. But Survive the Nights, yeah, Miscreated. Oh god, there was a couple other ones. Yeah, we were just all talking about, how many survival games don't make it.
I have to go back to that. That game was such a disappointment. I wanted the game that we saw in Frankie's video, and it just never eventuated. I've still got it. I never refunded it, and I still follow it, but I don't know if it's ever going to come back.
No.
Well, I've never even heard of that game.
Neither have I.
There you go. That says a lot about it. Oh God.
What was
it was very short-lived.
Was it a survival game?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I remember when I first jumped into it, the user interface was terrible. I just could not work out anything. I was finding items. There was no idea of what I was meant to be doing, and it's pretty much during the day, the zombies, the infected, are slow. At night time, though, they go fucking apeshit, and you basically got to find somewhere to bunker down for the night, and install defenses and traps and everything like that. And yeah, so there's another one, War Z. That was how to kill your game very quickly. That was a shocker. Do you remember that one, Echo?
Yeah, I don't think I actually played that one.
No, I didn't play that one.
Yeah. And there was another one. Isaiah in chat might know. There was another one we played. I can't think of the name of it right now. We played the shit out of it. For a few days, we're like, okay, let's try something different.
Scum?
And I can't think of what the name was, but there was another survival game we played a lot of. And, it was fun to check out something new and do that for a little while. But
H1Z1?
None of them. Said? It wasn't H1Z1, but I did try H1Z1, the Survive, and that wasn't.
No.
It wasn't good.
That was a bit rough, yeah.
Let's just leave it at that. That's all that needs to be said about
H1Z1 was better as a battle royale than it was as a survival game.
Yeah, definitely.
Just like Fortnite was better as a battle royale than it was as a survival game. Not a lot of people realize that was started off as a survival game style thing as well.
It was.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think DayZ just has something special. I don't really...
The Forest? Was that the survival?
No, it was... Guys, The Forest is more like a solo. I mean, you can play multiplayer, but yeah, The Forest, it's mostly solo.
There is. Survive the Night, Dead Side, Dead Matter, Scum. I think Scum started about 2018 as well. But
I don't think you can really...
Oh, Next Day Survival.
Next Day. I have not heard of Next Day Survival.
I've heard of that one.
Yeah, did you play it?
Minecraft, the original best survival game there ever is.
Yeah,
that is
Minecraft.
Don't diss Minecraft, it's the best game ever.
Next Day Survival, 89 pence.
Oh.
It's on sale. It's on sale, 90% off. Okay.
Wow.
Jesus Christ.
It's doing good, so. How many players does it have, I wonder?
But it's a dead genre, apparently. Survival games, open world survival sandbox games. So, yeah, just like DayZ is a dead game. Not.
Right.
Oh, yeah, easily.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of
Next Day
frustrating
Survival.
when you get those people come into your chat, isn't it, Echo? When it's like, are you still playing this dead game? Hello, have you checked the Steam charts?
Yeah, I know, and I think it carries over. I think people who've maybe been around for a long time heard of DayZ back then, and you know, like DayZ had the bad rap. It's like, oh, this game's still in alpha, and it's like, well, no, not anymore. You know, but it was like the longest running alpha survival game, and it was the running sim, and it had so many of these, I guess, bad raps, but I think people still carry that over into now, not realizing how well the game is doing.
Well, that's it. Yeah, I mean, oh, sorry. Go on, Max. Go on, bud.
It was during Christmas. I think it hit. It was the 25th most popular game in all of Steam.
Yeah.
It broke nearly 60,000. It was 50 something.
It was crazy.
57, 53.
High 50s anyway. Yeah, I think it was high 50s, but yeah, it was
52,696 all-time peak.
Yeah.
And it still does well with the Steam viewers. You've only got to look at, Frankie coming back and he put some videos out. JLK's videos, getting hundreds of thousands of views on the same day they're released. There's still a massive appetite for not just the genre, but for DayZ as a game. People are stunned with, oh, okay, I'll have to check out DayZ again.
Yeah. And, starting to put like content on TikTok and, a ton of people, but what game is this? What game is this? And because you just have this epic shit happen in the game, and there's DayZ, like, I always joke, I think all of us streamers joke that sometimes it seems scripted because the stuff that happens in DayZ is so unique where you're like, there's no fucking way that was just, that just happened. But it is. Like, it's just, you get the most unique experiences.
The one thing that's always like, you find you think chat might copy one is you're like, oh, I really want to try and find this gun, and you walk into the building and there it is, just sitting on a table.
Yeah.
It's like, I didn't plan for that to happen. It wasn't put there by anyone.
Yeah.
It was just.
It's the old catchphrase of streamer loot.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, easily, yeah.
That said, apparently, we saw some. We won't go too far into this, but we saw some evidence of a server giving favoritism to a streamer the other day. That was the knockoff day one servers, but yeah.
Oh, let's not go into that, right? Let's not go on that. That's a cesspit I genuinely can't be asked to get involved in.
Oh, you're gonna have to spill the tea after the show, lad.
Yeah, well, dude, didn't you worry, bud. Well, I mean, but that's it. It's like, even just for, like, when it comes down with DayZ and how it's gone on, DayZ, I think, in my opinion, it's achieved the numbers it has, and it has success it has. It's because the formula is ultimately simple. That's it. Yep. It's ruthless and simple. Like, I can't say much for other games like Miscreated. I never played it. Rust, not my kind of thing. Scum, I bought it when it first came out, and it ran terribly in my old PC, and I never touched it again, even though I can more than easily run it right now. All those games had something that was unique to them, but it deviated to me too much from what they were trying to achieve with DayZ. Like, I remember Rust, people saying Rust was meant to be the DayZ killer, and same with Miscreated, and they're absolutely not. Rust is its own entity right now, completely separate from what DayZ is. And then you got Miscreated, which I can't really say much about that, and Scum, which Boydie is a really good fan of, and you done an interview with the devs, didn't you? Yeah. So, and it looks like an okay game. I still want to try it, but with DayZ, like, you can go away for X amount of years, you can do whatever you want in your life, but ultimately it's like, I'm gonna boot up DayZ again. Let's see how it is. And you just can't get rid of it. You just can't, because it's something there.
Especially now there's so much variety to it. There's a server that caters to almost anyone's taste. Like we were saying, Echo, you can do a big 24-hour stream, and you can mix it up, the different play styles. You can go play on a base server, play on a no base server, play a different map, and mods that out the wazoo, or no mods at all. And It's just amazing.
I think too.
No,
go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, just kind of talking about how simple DayZ is really. I mean, you start with obviously depending on the server, but you start with a rag and a piece of food, and then whatever happens from there, like the rest is just, how many epic adventures start with a rag and a piece of food and turn into whatever the hell they might turn into. I just think that's so interesting. It is so simple, right?
Yeah.
When you really think about it.
Yeah, well, I just watched JLK's latest video, and within minutes of, or probably within the first hour, he found a helicopter in the middle of the forest that someone had just left there. And he even said it in the thing, guys. You're probably going to think this is scripted, but it's not. And what people don't realise is, for the 100 times you get killed by a bloody geared guy on the coast or die of starvation or something like that, every now and then, I came across a base just the other day on a server as a fairly fresh person, and it was just pretty much a tent with gear in it, and it was, fuck yeah, I'm geared as fuck now.
Happens to us.
There's all those times where you manage to take out the geared person on the coast. He might have been AFK or something like that, and or back in the good old days of the sharp stick echo, the great equalizer.
I miss the fire extinguisher.
Yes. Oh, the fire extinguisher was so OP.
It was so good. God, just running around Electro, beating the shit out of it. I used to have a clip where I think I killed 6 people in a row with it.
The one I really miss, Echo, that I still miss, and I pray to God they bring it back one day. One of the most terrifying noises you could hear as a freshborn.
Yes.
And this maniac would be running around, usually wearing one of the payday masks with a fucking chainsaw. They were buggy. They didn't always make the noise. But even if you didn't have the power, it was a one-hit fucking kill. Even if it wasn't turned on, it was just better when it was turned on because it put the fear of fucking God into you, the old chainsaw, didn't it?
I actually I used to record, I wasn't really big into making YouTube content back then. I don't have any editing skills. And I would still record all of my content. So a couple years ago, I was like, I have a terabyte full of DayZ content, just whether it's funny moments or kills. So the person who edits my videos, I just sent him a ton of stuff for a kill compilation and put it together in a video. And I actually have a chainsaw kill in there. And it was a guy on the rocks above Cami Shovo. I used to call it douche rock, where they would just snipe from those rocks above Cami. And I just came up behind him, complete freshie with a chainsaw. Perfect. So satisfying.
I miss that chainsaw so much.
It's funny because I don't recall. I know the chainsaw was in alpha, but I never ran into it. I never ran into anybody using it, and me
neither.
It's weird. The sharpened stick I remember fondly.
It was something that most people just ignored because, like I said, it was buggy. It didn't always work. You needed to find a fuel jerry to be able to fill it up so it would start. I can't remember if it needed the spark plug or not. I don't think it did. I think it just needed.
I don't think it did.
But. Yeah, and it was massive as well. It took up a lot of room in your inventory. So it was something you made a deliberate decision. Fuck yeah, chainsaw time to go on a freshie massacre around. Usually, for some reason, I always associate it with Berezino. That was where I usually always found a chainsaw and would just go crazy. And it was such a heart fucking tearing noise to hear that chainsaw start up and just see this maniac running around, and it did that motion that it
was a really awkward it was a lurch forward motion. It was so janky, but it was so funny.
Yes.
I miss that.
Yeah, there's so much of it, but it kind of brings me on to the topic I wanted to talk about with you. I briefed you on it before the start of the show. The change in content now in DayZ. Back when you guys were all streaming back in the day, it was pretty much everyone was on the same playing field. There was no modded servers. There was no edited tables of loot or anything like that. Even community servers like DayZ Underground and that, pretty much all they could do was just set rules about how you could play and all the rest of it. But other than that, vanilla was vanilla. The same spawn rate, same chopper crashes, and I remember that patch where there was only the 3 sites where the choppers would always spawn. That everyone would get up to the northwest and just do that circle between the 3 of them. Starry and Vybor, and one up near Lopatino, I think, as well. But now the big stuff we're all seeing is coming from these heavily modded servers. Like I mentioned with JLK. Pretty much all of his latest videos have been, keycard servers. So people who are seeing DayZ, they're not actually seeing the real DayZ. And it's a lot different these days. It makes me wonder how people are going when they're, oh, wow, this game looks amazing. And, they might buy it on, especially if they buy it on console. The game is nothing like what they're seeing in a lot of these videos.
Right. Yeah. I typically play servers that are going to be as vanilla as possible. And I think that I guess that's the beauty of DayZ, right? Especially where it is now, that you can play 2 completely different experiences and it still be DayZ, even though it's maybe not what people see. I try to, kind of represent the vanilla-ish side of DayZ, where you get, you're playing on Zero or Day One or Spaggies, that type of, and I think that's what I enjoy the most because it's what I'm used to. Yeah. Or it's more familiar, I guess, or closer to, because I enjoy the adventure. I enjoy the, back when cars weren't a thing, right? Yep. Vehicles were janky as shit when they did come out. So you just never messed with them. So we always ran. We always just would, travel from one location to the next. Whatever you get for loot is what you get for loot. And, the exciting feeling of having this character that's been through so much, and you get to a place and you're like, oh my God, I've been looking for an AK mag for like 3 hours. And I found an AK mag. Like, how exciting. Now I've got this sick AK. That is the most exciting thing to me. And it also really gives you those consequences, right? Because you can't just go back to your base or a trader and get fully kitted out again. Your life and the characters at life and adventure is that much more fragile. So
to me, that's have a tent or a barrel.
Yeah, right. Yeah, a tent or a barrel. Maybe, sometimes we'll put a backpack somewhere with a few things in it. If we killed a couple people, like on Essaker. Dr. Dryce and I play every Friday together now, and we kind of just go in Essaker and have a bloodbath. That's just like what we like to do. So, if we kill a couple guys and there's a ton of extra loot, in case we die, we'll take a backpack, put it somewhere. So if we die, we can run back, have something to kind of get that snowball effect rolling, I guess. Because I think especially on Essaker, you don't have any gear and it's hard. Everybody just wants to kill you. But once you get a decent amount of gear where you can actually kill a geared guy, it just kind of rolls in.
Yep.
Yeah.
What do you think of traders?
Yesterday on Essaker.
I don't really like traders, but that's just my personal thing, because obviously the people who have money to spend on the traders had to take the time to loot up and sell, right? So it kind of is like an economy, and so it's not like they just automatically go to the trader and can have a bunch of gear. Like if they play on that for a while, they'll have to actually keep up with that. But I think that it, you kill someone, they have a bunch of money, they go back to the trader, get a full kit, and then they come back for you. There's the enticing kind of organic interaction of like, is that person going to try to come back for their gear? Should we watch their gear? Are they going to try, are they going to take the time to loot back up and come to us? I think it just leads to more organic PvP and interactions.
Mm-hmm. What about base servers? What do you think about them?
Gosh, people are going to be like, wow, she just hates bases and traders. I don't. I can understand why people play on them. But I think bases for me are like a cool thing to maybe do with like your community, or, have like a thing to do together and build up. Because it is cool to build a base and have this area where you're like, oh, cool, look at all this like cool place we built up. It's our little sanctuary. But I really hate, like, if I'm in a server, I'm like run into a base in a house I'd like to loot or something. And I'm like, oh shit. Like, they just are completely blocking off like a part of town or something. So I personally don't like to play on base servers, but I can understand the appeal of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
You go.
No, I was just going to say, but I mean, that's fair enough. Luckily, with how DayZ is, and you do have that. What's the word I'm looking for? Not adaptability. I can't think of the bloody word, but a lot of options. You have a lot of options for a server to cater to you that you can find, which is great. So if you want a more vanilla experience, great. But I know a lot of people that do like the traders and in the base servers, which is completely fine. But it always comes down to, if you do play on those kind of servers, is it tuned right? And that's something that, as a modder, that really interests myself. Because you'll get a lot of servers where it's like, you spawn in, you've already got 1 million rubles in your account, you go to your ATM, you kit up, go for it. I can't stand that shit. But I love trader servers. I prefer when you spawn in, you have literally nothing, and the economy is harsh, so you really have to spend a lot of time in the server to actually play it. But when it comes to vanilla, you can't beat it. You just can't. Like, it doesn't matter what kind of mods a server has, you can't beat vanilla.
One thing we talked about quite a bit, Echo, is I spoke about in the very early days how the meta used to be, where was the action? You probably remember very well, the days back up in the hills around Electro, sniping in the town, and massive battles in Electro, or Ciao, where you'd have someone on the tower, someone on blue square, someone on triple yellow, and that was the meta. Now the meta seems to be switching between the styles of DayZ, and I don't know whether it's still rolling as much, but there was a big push a few months back for more vanilla style DayZ, or slightly vanilla enhanced, we were calling it, with just some very light mods, but sticking as much as possible to what vanilla DayZ is. But we did a poll last week where the majority of players like the idea of base servers. There's a lot of the people who will say bases and traders have ruined DayZ, but it's just kind of evolved into that sort of game. The majority of people do prefer to play on a base server. There's always going to be a market for servers like Day One, which are no base servers, but the majority of people just enjoy having those base servers.
Yeah, I think that's, I completely understand why. I think, as someone who doesn't play base servers,
it's hard as a streamer, though. It's hard as a streamer to play and have a base.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, even just putting like a little stash on Essica, I'm like, all right, got to put up my screen, and I'm sure they can process of elimination. There's not very many places, so I could be putting something right. But it's always, I think it's tough too, because playing on very no base, pretty vanilla-ish servers, it always lends towards a lot of interaction because nobody's in their base. And I think that I've played on a couple base servers, and that's one thing I'm like, okay, this is a full server. Where the hell is everybody? So I think you get sometimes where people are kind of sitting there chilling in the base, maybe they're building. So it, when I think I like not playing a base, because you're like, okay, there's 50 people on this server. They've got to be somewhere out roaming, and there's the chance you're going to interact and run into them. But that's the kind of thing is I can understand why people like high loot servers and modded guns, and even if it's not a different DayZ than maybe like what we used to be used to, or if it's getting put out there, these huge YouTube videos. I don't think it's a bad thing, because I think it goes to show how diverse DayZ is as a game.
Yep.
And that it can bring that many more people into play it and say, hey, you want to play on this? Go ahead. You want to play on this? Go ahead. And it just builds the community even stronger.
Any thoughts of ever starting your own server?
I've thought about it, but I mean, we used to kind of have like a server that we would play on for like meetups back in the day, but it's so much work. It's so much work.
My advice, don't. Just get other people to make the servers, and you just play on them and promote them. It's a nightmare.
Yeah,
an absolute nightmare.
It is logistical feat, and I do have respect for a lot of server runners that they go out the way to actually make the servers, and if they become successful, fantastic. If not, well, it's a learning experience. But I still wouldn't recommend making one.
And it's even worse. Like, look at all the shit the Running Man used to get when the Spaggy had the Running Man server, and people would come into the Running Man's chat. They even had a command for it. I'm not an admin on the server. The server is just named after me. And yeah,
I wouldn't. That's one thing. If I was ever to give advice, but sorry, don't name it after yourself.
Yeah,
because you'll just get nothing but hate and hassle constantly. Come up with
people can't like separate that the difference between like what an admin.
Yeah.
Because your chat will just be spammed constantly.
Yeah. So I mean, I really enjoy the servers that I play on. And I really respect, all the people that they put so much work and time and energy and effort into it. And, especially like HB, the amount of effort he puts into those maps to customize them. On Melkart,
the and all the rest of it.
Yeah. On Melkart, there's outside the, I don't even know what it's called, but the castle that has the military inside of it. If you go down, there's like a lake. And on Zero, there's this really cool hidden cave, and there's a couple captain bunkers in there, and it just looks so good. It's so well integrated into the map. I was on a different Melkart server, and I was like, "Hey, want to see something cool? There's a cave over here." Someone in my chat was like, "No, HB added that. Like, that's specific to a Zero Melkart, which I think is they put so much effort into it, and it really shows."
Yep, those nice little touches, and again, that's another thing that keeps things interesting. There's all these mods and custom maps. We talked about the Kamakuri one, Livonia last week, and I had a little server for a while, and just people getting things. It's always nice when you're playing something that but then something pops up that that's what they've done here. One of my favourites is finding people that have tried to make the Northeast Airfield like the old Northeast Airfield was, back before it got nerfed hard and became a place
I miss old Northeast. Oh.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Even like old Belota.
Yes.
I remember how different Belota was.
Bring back Belota tents has been a hashtag of mine for ages. I understand the argument, when people can spawn near Cherno and all the rest of it, they should have just changed the spawns, had all the spawns on the East Coast and left Belota, and because then it wasn't pretty much as it is, everyone just gravitates up to the northwest of the map. Whereas if everyone spawned on the east, they could be spawning, heading anywhere from the northwest all the way down to Belota with the Belota military. I missed it. I really do miss it. It was a fucking awesome location. I even miss the old Northwest Airfield. I like the new Northwest Airfield, don't get me wrong, but the old Northwest Airfield was, a thing of beauty.
I miss old. Yeah.
I mean, I absolutely love new Northwest Airfield. I think it's fantastic. In fact, I think the whole of what Chinaris is right now is, but at the same time, especially Northeast Airfield, you can't quite beat it. There's a vibe there that's missing.
Just had a 200 IQ idea. Put the old Northwest Airfield where the new Northeast Airfield is, and keep the old one so you best of both worlds.
Mate, if that was possible, holy shit. That'd be class. But,
yeah, because I'd like to say I miss, like, old Cherno, old Electro, old Berezino.
Yep.
But, I think it probably is a nostalgia thing, like sniping from those apartments in Berezino, and it's just.
I was just thinking of those apartments in Berezino up the back there, and it was just insane.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so different, but it's probably just because we put so much time in when it was like that. Because I haven't played a ton. I mean, I still get lost in Cherno because I'm like, it's so different. I haven't really played it since it changed.
Winter Cherno is the bomb. I love Winter Cherno.
Me too. Yeah. I actually tried out Winter Is Tech a couple days ago as well. Because I just think it's cool to see any map winter because it looks so different.
Yes. Yeah, it does. I mean, I've worked on Winter Shinaris, and what the guy's done there is absolutely fantastic. It's really, really well done, and one of the first mods that came out back then, it still holds up, and it's just you can't go wrong with it. I mean, there's the distant trees, which are still not right, but fuck it, that's fine. It's okay, but it's fine.
Now, I've got a topic I want to talk about, and I'm interested in your aspect on this, Echo. I just saw you hit 1,000 subs on Twitch. Congratulations, mate.
Thank you.
But I'm seeing a lot of people posting, usually on Twitter, about they're taking it to heart and this is something that DayZ, as you said before, is the biggest little community. But DayZ viewers are quite particular. They like their DayZ. I've dabbled in streaming Scum before, and my numbers plummet when I stream Scum. But people almost have a go at viewers for not staying there and watching them when they're playing something other than DayZ. What are your thoughts on that?
So, being someone who... I was a variety streamer. I was a WoW streamer, then a variety streamer, then a DayZ streamer. And I was only a DayZ streamer back then for years. And when DayZ hit a point where it was pretty much unplayable around kind of the time that I took a break, desync was... I just remember this one specific firefight I was in. It was in the stairwell of a hospital. And I think that we ended up on 2 different floors, even though we were fighting each other by the time I actually died. It was so bad. But
yeah.
I kind of started playing other things. And I mean, I lost more than half my viewership not playing DayZ. And that's just inevitable, I think, with anybody who has a one game streamer. You're going to have those people who just want to watch you play that. And you'll have a core community who stays around regardless. But the thing is that I always say people don't own viewers. Nobody owns anybody. The viewers, what makes DayZ so great is the fact that we all share our communities and people are, great about playing together and rating each other and doing shout outs. That's what makes a community strong. And, no one owns anybody to watch them if they're not playing DayZ. You just have to know that if you're a main DayZ streamer and you don't play DayZ, you're going to see a dip. But those people will come back when you play DayZ. So, I mean, that's just kind of comes with the territory, I guess.
And if you change games completely, they're probably not going to come back. It's not so much that people don't like you. They like watching you play that game. And if you're playing a different game, you're going to be different because you're playing a different game. So, it always surprises me. It's kind of like, you guys are mean because you're not watching me when I'm playing a different game. And it's like, well, no, people can choose what they do with their time.
Right,
what a lot of people do is they this doesn't go for DayZ, this goes for whatever game. They play their main game for a couple of hours and then the last hour of their stream or something like that, they'll switch to that other game they wanted to stream and play. And then it doesn't matter if their viewers dip because they're, kind of winding down their stream anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
That's probably the smartest way to go about it.
Yeah.
I think so too.
And don't take it personal. It's not anything against you as a person. It's just viewers like to watch what they want to watch. And you've got to make that decision. Are you going to just play what you'll be unhappy playing to keep the viewers, or play what you're happy? The one I always go back to is what's his name? The Summit 1G. And there's plenty of videos out there talking about his transformation and how he wasn't happy playing games that he thought people wanted him to play, and then he just said, fuck it, I'm just going to play what I want to play, and people came back in their droves, and he found himself playing some of the games they wanted to see, but he was happier because he was mixing it up and being a bit more of a variety streamer. And did you ever see the troll that they did of Summit 1G playing DayZ?
No.
Oh, my dear Lord. My girl, you are in for a treat. Let me see if we can find this.
Get the clip up. Get the clip up. It is beautiful.
Yeah, I'd kind of touch on that too. I think it's tough streaming, right? Like, especially breaking into a platform where it's super saturated. There's people all trying to do the same thing. And, I think DayZ is a great game to grow your stream on because it is that little, big, small community. But you have to also enjoy yourself. That's what I tell people first. Like, don't try to play something that you hate because nobody's going to want to watch someone who's miserable playing a game. That's just...
Yeah.
You have to enjoy yourself. You have to love what you're doing. And you have to know that people might not watch you sometimes too, and that's okay because it's free content at the end of the day.
Now, I've just put the video up. You can watch the stream as well. But the context is Summit went on a rant about how bad the trees in DayZ are. And the title is incorrect. He wasn't actually trolled by devs. He was trolled by a modder.
Okay.
But...
Dude, look at our character. 100% look at this. The deagle on the hip was crazy looking. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, I'll admit the tactical belt for the look is pretty cool. Look at the knife on the back, the canteen, and the deagle. Imagine getting just a random gun here, not even just for the looks, with a suppressor on it. Damn, I dropped that other pistol suppressor I had. This is my favorite my character's ever looked, 100%. After watching multiple streams of DayZ, I'm left wondering if there's any end game. What happens when you win? Keep up the good work. You keep on winning by killing everyone around you and making sure that they're losing. You guys want this music? Yeah. Sit tight. I'll be right back, okay? You become a god. There you go.
This
you
is transcend
your being.
Oh my god!
He comes back in a sec.
You're kidding me. You're kidding me. Hold the phone. Give me a second here. Let me wrap my head around this. What happens when you win? Okay. Summit becomes a god. Give it a good work. You keep on winning by killing everyone around you and making sure that they're losing.
True. I mean, I still
You guys
stand
want
by
this
that.
music? Yeah. Sit tight. I'll be right back, okay? You become a god. There you go. You transcend your being. Well, I should have seen it right there. What? What the fuck? What happens when you win? What the fuck? You keep on winning. Christmas trees fell out of the sky with 1G ornaments. Did you see that?
Merry Christmas, son.
I'm getting trolled. They watch. I'm telling you. What the fuck, man?
Oh.
Now, if you want to watch the rest of that clip, I'll share the link in everyone in the different chats now. But yeah, that was absolutely fucking gold when they did that to him. It was absolutely brilliant.
That's so funny.
And that's the power that modders have. Just so you're aware, don't ever piss off the modders. They can do mean things to you, Echo.
Yeah, well, I hope I haven't pissed off any modders because I really respect all of them.
But yeah,
Oh, God.
absolutely gold. And he took it so well. Because he loves to go on his rants every now and then. He was like, he was really into it about how bullshit the trees were, and then modders managed to hack the interface of the loading screen and troll him. Yeah, right.
Yeah, I had no idea you could do that.
Yeah, you can.
There's a lot they can do that they keep up their sleeve.
Wow.
Cheeky boys and girls that they are.
Yeah.
you know it. But yeah, it was great. It was fantastic.
Now, a couple of nice things that I wanted to share with folks. One is something that we did as a community. Let me just share my stream. We sent a present to JD Plays. She's another female streamer, and she recently became a mother again. So we arranged to send her a little gift box of Australiana themed stuff, obviously me being an Aussie. And she has posted on her Twitter a picture of Bub with the little koala bear there as well. But that was just something that we were able to do as a community. So thank you everyone for your support. I like to do little things like that. We sent Toprek something back in the day as well when he had Ollie, and yeah, got to arrange a new one as well because some exciting news coming up. Let me bring him up.
Oh boy, dude Thor.
Where is it?
You'll find it eventually. He posts a lot. Bless him, he posts a hell of a lot. I actually really enjoy his
I must have scrolled past it. But
no, I didn't. I don't think. Got it down. Oh, he does post a lot.
Posts a lot of scum stuff, which is one of the reasons why I'm thinking, I should give it a go.
Yeah, he's trying to convince me to come over as well.
He's trying to convince everyone. He's really trying to convince everyone to go and play Scum. We're going to talk about Scum as well shortly. How's his fucking hair? Look at that hair.
I saw that picture.
That's insane. That is insane.
I would do anything to have hair like that.
Same. Shit.
Where? It must have been somewhere before. But anyway, he's about to become a dad for the first time. So congratulations, Thor. I'm so happy for you, mate. Becoming a parent is the most amazing thing in the world. He's going to find he's got a lot less time, though, to be streaming.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
He's on the media. No, he posts a lot of clips as well. So I'm just not going to find it. I'm certain he had a picture of the baby scan or something like that as well. But yeah. And on a personal note as well, one of my good friends, Vanguard, for those who know him, he is about to become a dad as well in September this year. So I could not be more happy. Could not be more happy for him.
Bunch of little babies to grow up and play DayZ. Perfect.
Yeah.
Now, this was a nice little post in the DayZ Reddit. You know, unfortunately, it's a fact of life, people, that we're all going to die at some stage. But sadly, you know, there's a unique part of it with online. You know, some of us form friendships that, you know, with people that we've never actually met IRL, may have never even seen their face, don't know anything about them.
Yeah.
And this is a post by decision number 2048. I woke up today to news that the guy that first showed me the ropes of this game died last night. His name was Slink, and he was a really, really cool and funny guy. He suffered from instability in his life with both emotions and worldly stability, finances and domestic. If you guys can, unless you're unofficial, because I know ammo is gold sometimes, dump a mag in the sky for Slink. He introduced so many people to DayZ and the new update when the game first dropped for console. It was my first ever faction as well. You'll be forever missed, buddy. Rex and Gunters in the sky for us. And it was just a beautiful little post. You know, we've had a few significant people. Yeah, there was Doc Satan from the DayZ Down Under community that I covered last year, and it's just great for the comments as well from people. You know, even Brian Hicks got in there. I'm truly sorry for the loss of your friend. DayZ, you just form these relationships, don't you, Echo?
You do, yeah. And, you know, it's so interesting because even like a short interaction with someone can be so meaningful.
Yeah.
And I mean, I have interactions that I had with people years ago and people still bring them up, you know, or even since I've come back, you know, you find someone and you run together and you discover cool shit together. And, it's really just the two of you, adventuring, and you really do form bonds with people. And it is special. And a lot of people I've met since I've come back, are people now that I talk to every day, even if we're not playing together. So it's definitely something really special for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really sucks, but the fact is that, especially with that particular post in question, the fact that this guy, he made a post on the subreddit, probably wasn't expecting to get much support from it, but the community came together to pay their respects. And I would like to think that people actually done the salute, shot the guns together
in the sky. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to think that they did. And if the guy ever watches, I'm not too sure if he ever will, but really sorry for your loss, mate. And you're always going to be in my thoughts, man. You look after yourself,
definitely.
And it sucks, but
I just even love some of the comments. Doesn't matter how rare ammo is. If this is the guy who's like you're describing him, he's worth everything I got. I hope 322 LR rounds from a badly damaged amphibia are enough. Just people still having a bit of a laugh, but still doing something for everyone. It was. Yeah, there's been some truly amazing memorials, placed in game, and just people getting together and doing, 21 gun salutes and things like that. The relationships us gamers forge quite beautiful things. That really, a lot of people like to say online gaming is toxic and all the rest of it. It can be, but every aspect of life can be toxic. But for the most part, just look at how everyone rallies around, like when Wobo left the community. Do you remember that, Echo?
I don't think I was here around, no.
No, I think it was after 2018, or around that. Might have been around that time. But he had to leave for personal reasons, and the community rallied together and raised over 20 or 30,000 US dollars for him. And you obviously know who Wobo is. Everyone, the DayZ science god.
He's the info god,
Yeah. But I think everyone wishes they could be like him, but I don't think there'll ever be another Wobo. He's just truly unique in what he does. And it was just great to see people just rally, and everything from people doing charity streams just through to fundraisers to help out a mate. There's so much good that happens around these online communities, and there really is. And I mean, just like that post itself, like I can picture, a group of friends coming together, just taking a time to let off their guns. Like we used to always drop a little bit of ammo in the memorial in Severgrad. Those little things that I still do it. If I'm in Severgrad, I still do it because it's just, I think it's such a tight knit community that people just care, and you get the best friendships and interactions and genuine, connections with people on DayZ. Sorry, I just had another memory then as well. Remember how you used to be able to glitch inside that as well and hide in there?
I don't think I ever did. Could you?
The same as remember when they had to shut down the ATC and no loot spawned in it?
Yes.
People, I never knew how to get into that spot, but there was always some dirty scumbag fucking glitch through the walls there.
I forgot about that. I remember though. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's a word for you.
Oh man.
Loot explosion.
They were the best.
I kind of like, I don't know, I kind of secretly miss Loot Explosion.
Yeah. They were good.
One of those weird, unique things. Probably my favourite one was that one room, that tiny little cell on Prison Island. And you went in there and it was just loot just piled on. It was great walking into a barracks and just having a whole room filled with it. But that one room on Prison Island, and it was just overflowing with loot. And then the .57 patch as well, where all the loot was spawning on the coast, and it just turned into a absolute blood battle.
AKs and like the guard shacks.
Yeah. I remember Go
ahead.
I remember trying to open my inventory in one of those loot explosion rooms, and my game froze for a solid 10 seconds before it just finally came back, and the amount of loot that just popped up on my screen was madness.
You could go to Kaminka military base, close to the coast, and just get head to toe, fully kitted, anything you wanted. And that was before like plate carriers. So, I used to like to rock like the black M65, black cargos, black tack vest. And I would I go to Kaminka and I would be super geared, perfect, good to go north. It was crazy.
I didn't realize they were actually MDC design saying here. Loot explosions actually the result of loot cycling elsewhere was basically the only thing that made 3 or 4 patches playable. They kind of were, to be honest. But at the same time, that was during the period where the player base was plummeting. People were just getting frustrated with the state of the game. And as fun as they were, the loot explosions, they definitely are something that needs to stay in the past. It'd be a nice throwback to Legacy. Did you actually know about the Legacy version of DayZ that got released recently, Echo?
I played a bit of it. Or do you like the Legacy gun mod on Winter Trenars? Is that one you're talking about?
Someone basically opened up that you could go back and play 0.6.
Oh, so it's just like a full server.
Yeah, and it was the old version of DayZ. With the old clunky combat system of melee and all the rest of it. I don't know whether you can still do it, but that was DanceofJesus, wasn't it? And he had a link
It wasn't a server. It wasn't a server, so what you could do... It was a
private mod, wasn't it?
It wasn't a mod. It was, you could download the old repositories for the old versions of the game, 0.62.
This is why we have Vlad on the show. Echo, he's a smart guy.
Because Steam still holds all of that information on their servers, so technically, if you know how to do it, you can download the old versions. In fact, I did, and DanceofJesus or Daone, one of them, they made a video tutorial on how to actually do it. So if you wanted to go back and play it offline, you could. I wouldn't recommend it, but you could. But it kind of made you realize, at least for me, going back to it, it's like, damn, this game was broken to shit.
I can't even imagine, right? Because that's what I was saying. We get so change. We get so used to change. And I look back at my old videos or clips sometimes, I'm like, oh my God, what the fuck was that? Even just something on the UI, I'm like, I forgot it was like that. It was so, or back when hotbar didn't work, the hotbar just never worked.
Yep.
You did not use your hotbar. It was not a thing. And, old, how you reloaded things, you couldn't move things, turn things in your back, the littlest things. I kind of want to play it just to kind of see what it was like again, because it's been so long. But
we'll send you a link just so that it might be something fun to do one day on your stream, just to go back and talk people through how clunky DayZ was back in the day, because it does suffer, particularly with us older people. Not saying you're old or anything, but those of us who remember the early days. We do suffer from nostalgia, from rose-tinted glasses. And then the reality is pretty much to a T, every single person who went back and played the old 0.6 version when it got released was all like, yeah, DayZ is a lot fucking better now.
So much better. Well, there was a patch too. I always call it the famine of 5.5, where there was just no food anywhere. And I feel like that's when cannibalism maybe got introduced around that time or something. But there was just never any food ever. And I was playing with Anthony a lot at the time. And I was always kind of like, I'm never going to eat people. Yeah, Anthony Kong fan. And I always said, I was like, I'm not going to eat people, but there was no food. So really the only thing to do at the time was to kill people.
You're talking about the 0.55 patch, the Great Drought. Where the food, it was, once you got off the coast, it was a lot better. But on the coast, it was literally starvation. It was one of my favorite patches, to be perfectly honest. I love the brutality of it. But yeah. That is fascinating what MDC just said in chat. There's actually someone who's working on updating the leak code from 0.45 as a sort of parallel evolution of DayZ if they continued with RV rather than Enforce. That is fascinating.
Yeah.
That is... Did you know about that, lad?
Yeah.
Okay,
So
lad.
Yeah, explain.
A couple of months back, I got up marks for knowing about an event. And
I didn't want to talk about it because it doesn't interest me. That's why I didn't mention it. Basically, the old code...
So you've let me down here, lad. You've let me down. You're meant to be my tech guy. You're meant to keep me in the loop on interesting shit like this.
It's not interesting. At least to me. No, fair it is. But, all right, I will talk about it. So, basically what happened is back in 0.45, obviously, as was said, the code was leaked. And you can get it. So this guy's done it, and basically what he's doing is that he's continuing developing on that, trying to, as MDC said, compare with like modern DayZ to that, because DayZ, how would I explain it? So the current version of DayZ utilizes a different bunch of engines, partially Infusion, partially RV, and whatever. Back then it was mostly RV, back when what Armor 3 used, right? Back in 0.45. So a lot of things back then were different to how DayZ functions now. So this guy's continuing down that route out of pure interest. SQF, essentially, yeah, instead of Infusion script or NScript. And personally, I don't see why, but whatever floats your boat. It is an interesting thing to see what's a community, because I'm pretty sure it's not just one guy, it's a community that's doing it. So it's pretty much interesting to see where they go with it. If BI doesn't slam the fucking legal hammer in a cease and desist. Because, I mean, even with downloading the 0.62 version of DayZ using like Depot or whatever, right? That we were just talking about before. They're not... Legally, they can't do anything, but I'm pretty sure they would like to. So having people working with leaked code, even if it is 0.45, that's why I wasn't interested, because it's like, it's a legal thing, and I'm like, fuck that. Can't be.
And what would make the leaked part of it so good? Is it stuff that was never released, or
it's kind of stuff that was never released, but it's also, as MDC said, shits and giggles. But it's also kind of like, because SQF is massively different from NScript and what NScript uses. And as we all know, DayZ back then ran like crap. So I will say it would be interesting to see if they could actually improve performance. That would be quite cool. I doubt it, but it'd still be quite cool.
Echo, are you like me, where most of this is just going straight over your head?
Yeah, I'm trying to absorb.
Sorry, I tried. No. I try to simplify it as best as I can, but we
love hearing about this stuff.
Yeah,
because, a lot of it is like NScript and SQF. I've got no fucking idea what they are. Coding gibberish.
Yeah,
I've heard of them, and I understand the basic concepts of it, and it's just fascinating. Like MDC said, shits and giggles. I'm fascinated someone is doing this. The modders truly amaze me that someone has, they're going to go back and they're going to see what they can do with it.
Since I don't really understand it, I guess my question is, continuing on that path instead of like what it is now, like how would it differ that much, right? Keeping development into that path as opposed to the path it took, what's going to be the difference in that?
Well, yeah, so basically, as I was saying before, since DayZ uses different engines, the old version would basically be like the one typical engine that Arma 3 uses. So I guess it would be a really interesting concept to see if DayZ, if the powers that be behind DayZ said, right, we're not moving to Infusion, we're not making this new engine, we're sticking to what Arma 3's got. Roll with it. These guys are essentially doing that. SQF, like, I'll preface this, I'm not a scripter. I have basic understanding of code I'm more of a texture modeler. I work with the RV side of like the texture stuff. But yeah, so it's basically kind of like if they didn't slow down development to create this new engine, this is the path they could have gone down. Mm-hmm. So once they've dignified it's like, this is finished, how would it compare to where the direction DayZ would go, both in terms of technical feat, but also feel, vibe, features that could have been introduced, stuff like that. Because there's a lot of stuff, even in the current version of DayZ, like, you may know that there's a lot of features or a lot of items that were in alpha that aren't in DayZ right now. But all the files are still there. And it's kind of similar for the 0.45. There's stuff in there that's not been introduced, but it can be introduced. So they're going ahead to do that. They're going to add their own stuff, I can only assume. It is going to be interesting to see. Personally, like I said, I'm not interested, but I will keep tabs of it because I know for people's going to be like, so, how's that new 0.45 going?
Please keep us up to date on it. I'm fascinated by it. One thing I would love to see them do, Echo, and I would throw money at them if they ever did it, is for them to release another DLC map, but it is the original Churnerus, without Tizzy, with old Belota, old Northwest Airfield. I think that would be an easy way for them to make some money. What do you reckon?
I mean, I don't really know how that goes for, people who like in the mapping community, but I know for me personally, just as an old player, I would love to see it.
Yeah.
Because again, I don't know if it's a nostalgia thing, but I really liked the old map. And I think that it would be so cool to have just another, you're still showcasing Chernarus as a map, but having the opportunity to have a nostalgia feel and play on a different version of it, or old version of it rather. I would put it into my map cycle.
It's funny because DanceofJesus, who worked on DayZ expansion, he's a fantastic modder. He does some really great mapping. He now works for the DayZ development team. Props to him again. So he sent a letter to Bohemia to request the 0.62 map to be reintroduced into DayZ, and he actually managed to get that version of the map working for the current version of DayZ, and it was great, fantastic. But they never got back to him.
Oh no!
It was a wasted opportunity. A lot of people were behind them as well, so I was like, oh, for God's sake! Because I personally, I love the 0.62 map. I'm not even talking
0.62. 0.62 had modifications made to it. I'm talking back to the old Northeast Airfield with Sniper Hill overlooking it, the old Cherno, with blue square and triple yellow. The Armour 2 version that DayZ originally had when it first released as the mod, and I know why they've made changes to the map, but with none of those, with old Electro, old Berezino, and everything like that.
Yeah,
it'd be cool.
And
it would be cool. Its bones are essentially the same. Most of the major cities are in the same locations, but there's no Tizzy. Northwest Airfield is the old Northwest Airfield. Cherno and Electro are completely different. Electro is probably, you could say, was a little bit bigger in some aspects.
Yeah, I think so.
Cherno is smaller, but it was just there was a lot of memories associated with just how that map was. Berezino is very different. The apartments in Berezino, but. Yeah, just as a legacy, a throwback, they could maybe do it for the 10-year anniversary of DayZ, something like that. But I think it would be a winner, even if they did it as a free DLC, as a thank you to the community. So then everyone can have it. Console can get it as well. I know Console would much rather a snow map or something like that. They definitely need to do some more official maps, though.
Conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but I just had a brainwave, right? What about if that letter they sent, the letter DOJ sent to BI was like, they got it and they were like, wait a minute, this is like a 200 IQ idea. So hire them as a quote-unquote map editor just so they could get his map off him, put it out there, and it's going to be released sometime this year.
Who knows? Who knows?
Well,
Love it. No. I love the conspiracy.
I'm always here for a good conspiracy. I'm here for it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I would play the shit out of it. Yeah.
Big brain, plausible. Everyone in chat likes it as well. Yeah.
Huh?
No.
Yeah, I mean, I know I would play it. It's always so crazy to me too because so many people play console, and console was introduced. Wow, I don't know what year was console introduced.
2019, something like that.
Right.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So there were 4.5 years before it was ever introduced to console, and it's the console community is huge. I've heard a ton of people in my stream are console players.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it's a completely different game in a lot of aspects, but they only have two options. And I get so many people when I post a video or I'm streaming and they're like, oh my gosh, this map is so cool. Like, where are you at right now? I'm like, oh, I'm on PC. And they're like, oh, I'm on it. I'm on console. So just the amount of content that's out there for PC versus console is just so different. So if we had another base map that they could play, I think that would be huge. And if it's something that obviously PC people can enjoy as well,
Well, that's it. And I've said this before to people as well, because a lot of console folks, and I do have a lot of respect for them. They are crying out for a new map. They've played the absolute living hell out of Chernarus and Livonia. And I mean, the PC folks, we've been doing Chernarus since 2000 and God knows when, 2012, 2011, something like that, back in the mod days.
Yeah.
So we've done a long time, but I do agree that console especially is in dire need of a new map. I don't think there is a new map coming.
They've confirmed
with the roadmap. Yeah, essentially, yeah. So
we need to do a bingo card for 2022.
Yes. So, I mean, in the roadmap this year, they confirmed that they're reworking Livonia, which is cool, I suppose. And I'm not a big fan of Livonia, but I hear it's going to be really cool. So I'm excited for it. But with, like I said, with console folks getting a new map, it would have to be the same time as PC. PC and console has to share parity. Mm-hmm. They have to be the same as much as they obviously reasonably can. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And I mean, as MDC said, creating maps is a feat. It takes a long goddamn time. Oh god, yes. It's fucking hard.
Well, that's what MDC just said in chat.
Well, that's it. Yeah. So, but even then, especially for people in chat, 'cause I've seen that there are a lot of new faces. So first off, hello everyone, thanks for coming along. But Somrak and now DanceofJesus are the only two people that work with the tools to create new maps. That's right. It. They're the only people on the dev team that work with those tools. Everybody else does assets, scripting, stuff like that. And the upcoming Armor game, Armor Reforger, Armor 4, whatever, they're using completely brand new tools that doesn't work with DayZ. And they've confirmed they're working on Livonia, redoing it, hopefully on the south end side, because it's shit. So a new map isn't going to come anytime soon. What I would love to see, though, is if a community on PC, they reached out to BI to basically work out a deal that they can create a community DLC similar to Armor 3.
In fact, I would an episode in a few weeks' time.
Yes. But what I would love for DayZ to do, ultimately, is I would love there to be a DayZ ambassador system. Absolutely. And I am going to advocate that every single goddamn week. Don't care. I want it. We've got to do it. We've got to reach out for it. We've got to push for that. And with an ambassador system, we can help, especially people in the console community.
Ambassador system, Artesian build.
No.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, I am going to. Oh, that's going to be spicy. But
That's going to
I
be
would
a
absolutely
no for
love
me, dog.
We talked about that briefly last week. That was just
that. Yes.
wow. It is fascinating from so many different aspects. What happened with Artesian builds? They're pretty much gone. They're done and dusted.
Oh, yeah.
Thank God for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How to literally ruin your company overnight.
Yeah.
It's insane.
In one stream. That's all they needed to do. One stream gone.
Yeah.
Took a 30-second clip.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Which I guess if that's the kind of person who is running the company, it's probably better that it came out sooner than later, right? I mean, they've already been pretty established for a while, so it kind of needed to happen, but it's insane how it imploded.
Well, it leads me into something else I wanted to chat with you about. And the only similarity is that it was a female he was talking about. But you put out your post about some shit that happened to you recently on stream. We've had a few female guests on, and it's something we take a very strong stance on here with the podcast. Abuse of anyone, because you can have a joke, you can have a laugh and all the rest of it, but abuse of fucking women has just got to fucking stop. If you're doing it and you're not trying to be, and even when you're trying just to be funny, you've got to remember that, you know, there may be things that might trigger someone or something like that. But what I was really happy to hear about was that they actioned it so quick. I remember someone put a post up that they were in someone's stream and someone was abusing them because they were a female in a stream, and it went on for ages. Did you see that post as well, did you?
I didn't, but
it was allowed
the
to go
sad thing
on.
is,
In this case,
which
at
is
least
fucked
they
up.
actioned it.
Yeah. And that's the sad thing is I didn't hear about that because there's so many other instances that I do hear about. It gets lost in how many times it happens.
Yep. Well, with Kiwo, you'd know Kiwo. You look at the amount of shit she gets, all because she's tried to remain anonymous. And it's almost like that sends some testosterone fucking fueled weebs living in their fucking basements or something like that into overdrive I have to expose her now. I have to know. If she wants to remain anonymous.
It's none of your fucking business.
Like they fucking, she has to delay everything she posts on social media now. Kiwo's a truly fascinating person. You know, she's very quirky and she's got her unique style that she does all of her tweets in. It's almost like a poet and all the rest of it. But, dude, you've just got to fucking chill.
Yeah.
Get your hormones under control.
Yeah, and it's like people feel like they deserve the right to know what someone looks like too, or, you know, have them divulge more of their life to them. And, you know, that's one thing that I used to stream with a webcam every single time I stream. And that's something that's actually kind of in the DayZ kind of world that's changed. Back then it was pretty much Moon and Kiwo and maybe like Ciao who didn't use a webcam and everybody else did. And that was normal. And nowadays it's kind of the opposite. I mean, there's a ton of creators that I love who use cams, but it's mostly like MDC said, it's mostly a camless community now. And I've actually switched to using no webcam, and it's been the best decision for me ever. I absolutely love not being on camera for stream. I play for longer. I enjoy myself more. I'm not worried about what I look like, or, you know, someone coming in and being like, "Oh, Echo, you look tired." I'm like, "Yeah, no fucking shit. I'm addicted to DayZ and I've been playing for 11 hours. Of course I'm tired. Like, of course I look tired." It's been liberating though. But I think that on the topic of like the women, the Queens of the Castle was like a true testament to show how many amazing women are in the community. I mean, Joito and I were talking, you know, in the Discord, the women's Discord, how back then there was really only like a handful of us. Yeah. You know, now I think we have like 100+ women in the ladies Discord, and we had enough for a full event.
I'd never heard of. Because, and it's just, it was amazing. I wish that they'd had female broadcasters doing the event as well, but I can kind of understand that why they chose Amish and Dr. Dreas to cover it, to get that exposure to it. But that's, I just would have loved if there had been a couple of females actually doing the commentating on it as well.
And I think that, Dreis and Ish did such a great job to showcase their communities. And I think it really, both of them reached so many different people, especially with Doc being, having his German community. And I think it really helped show a lot of new people about how amazing, women are who play DayZ. With the thing that happened the other day, one thing, and this kind of goes back into the communities and how different it is now with the community and admin support, is the fact that it's been bad. I don't know. I'm not really sure what's happened over the past few. It feels like over the past few months it's been ramping up. Just really terrible misogynistic comments, people treating women like shit in the game. I was already kind of. I feel like I'm pretty resilient. I've been streaming for a long time. You get a lot of shit on the internet. But on International Women's Day, there was a lot of terrible comments and people making even comments on like the DayZ TikTok that it's unrealistic for women to play DayZ and just shit like that. Yeah. Like there was like choose your fighter, and they showed like all the badass like female characters, and then someone was like none because it's unrealistic, and it's like what? Or like no women don't play DayZ. So I was already kind of like pissed off about that. I was just like, this is a day for us to like showcase how badass women are.
MGC's got to write in chat. It's not women who should be treated like shit in DayZ. It's people without microphones. They deserve all the hate they fucking get.
No mic, no life.
You're playing DayZ without a microphone. Fucking wake up to yourself.
Yeah. What are you doing?
Yeah.
I know. So I mean, I was already kind of annoyed, and then I posted a TikTok of Doc and I on Essaker. I got a triple kill, and someone wrote in the comments, "Nice job, sir." Like just automatically assuming that it wasn't the female in the clip that got a triple kill. Just little things like that kind of just they compound on itself, even though it's very obvious that I'm the person doing like in the clip, like mainly. So then I was on Essaker on day one, and there was a guy with no mic, of course, just harassing me. And then they knocked me out. Another guy came up and said just some really terrible shit to me. And I was at my breaking point. At that point, for a couple of days, I was already just like, what the fuck? Why is this ramping up? So I reported them, and day one took care of it almost instantly. Yeah. They're like, they're banned. I was reached out to by another server owner and let me know that ban now goes across all of the main servers. So fuck that guy.
Shadow on his ban. Yeah.
And good riddance to him.
Yeah.
There's no there's no space for it. No, it's just, we're not saying that we can't have a joke about something, but there's a time and a place. Read the fucking room, and when you're just doing it to be a malicious piece of shit, go fuck yourself.
And I think that, I'm very grateful for having communities that take care of the people who play on their servers, and, and then all those communities sharing the ban across and getting people who are toxic and cruel out of, their servers. I think it's really important. And I think that if we continue to do that and just not tolerate it, on whether you're a man or a woman, don't allow that behavior to continue,
The behavior you walk past is the behavior you accept.
Right. Exactly. So yeah, hopefully we can just chip away at it a little bit at a time. It sucks that it's 2022 and,
it still goes on.
It's still, yeah. So yeah, the women in the community are amazing. And they're badass at the game too, so it's like,
like we showed it last week, but Amish got some really cool footage of, I think it was Team Red when they breached the castle, and I sent it to my good mate Vigilante Gamer, and he did a breakdown of it, and the tactics the girls used were fucking operator level fucking tactics. The way they cleared that room and took out the defenders was top notch. Most guys would struggle to do as good a room clearance as that.
Yeah. And I think because for you're saying like Queens of the Castle, Team Red. Yeah. So because I was on Team Red, so you know, we played a really slow approach, and we took time to cook and eat, and you know, and we weren't as geared as we wanted to be, and we had no idea, you know, because we took more time to end up actually needing food. And when we actually pushed into Castle, that's a full team of women playing tactfully and making decisions, and you know, it was amazing.
You had Ariana on your team too, didn't you?
Yeah, it was myself.
You guys played smart. You guys were, the commentators were kind of laughing about it when they cut to you guys up in the forest up north and you're sitting there fishing. But it was smart. You showed your knowledge of the game. You realised that food was an issue and we need to stop. We need to. And Ariana looked like she was in seventh fucking heaven, sitting there with a fishing rod, just catching fish after fish. But it paid off for you guys. It was one of the things I loved about the Queen of the Castles event, and I love all DayZ events, but the Queen of the Castles event was so well done that it showcased all the skills of DayZ, and the teams that didn't use all the skills, down to hunting for food, they suffered. They suffered hard. Yeah. The teams that thought about it and went, hang about, we need food and we can fish for food, which is quieter than hunting and all the rest of it. It showcased the full gamut of, it's not just a PvP game, despite what you see in a lot of the videos and streams. But I want to quickly mention this comment that Cairo said as well in chat. I streamed with a female the other day, and all I got was, is this your girlfriend, Cairo? Or I'm a simp for giving her food in game, or I want to make a move on her. It's like, damn, girls have it so bad, so many little weirdos. Fucking oath. It's just...
Yeah. You know, I saw those tweets, Cairo, yeah.
Have a joke, folks, but fucking there's a line. There's a line. There's absolutely no need for harassment, especially for the women in our community, but for really anybody in the community, but especially more so towards the women. One of my favorite streamers that I watch actually is Fish. I watch Fish a lot, and I remember bumping into her, her friend Mama, and there was this lad there. I can't remember his name for the life of me, unfortunately. We bumped into each other on this the mosque server ages ago, and I had a good time. I went off to get some pants for the guy because his pants were ruined. The blizzard was coming in. I was fully kitted, so I was like, fuck it, I'll pop it in the next town. Come back, he's dead. There was a firefight. It was all hell had broken loose. So I was like, oh, of course. and then I got off and I never spoke to them again. And it wasn't until months later where I was reintroduced to Fish properly. And I'm like, hang on a second, I met you before. And it was like, and then we kind of start talking again. And then I realized that she plays with Gecko. And I was like, oh, that's fantastic. So every time I try and every time she tries and streams, I try my best to get in. Same with Vodka Cupcakes. I always try and pop into her streams, when her streams aren't fucking crashing all the time.
Vodka copped on Twitter the other day. Some guy
I saw that.
I know. She posted this really cool clip, and I watched it. And it was Vodka sitting there, basically, if I've got anything, I've got a water bottle here. I'll use that. And she's kind of angled like this, and you can't see what she's holding. And then she turns, and she's holding a knife in her hand, and she gives this kind of a cute little smile or a wink at the camera, and then turns back again. And some guy fucking commented about I won't be done until all these sluts who pretend to post. And I actually saw that comment. And I commented I saw her post, and I actually replied to her based on the initial comment without having seen it. And slutty did not even enter into my mind. I thought it was cute. You know, she's a pretty girl, and it was a TikTok video or something like that. And the comment I made was about how she used it like an ice pick. And I replied to her basically saying that that's actually something I remember reading in a book, that when cops are looking at a body, they can tell or make an assumption as to the sex of the killer, because men will hold a knife and stab like that. Women quite often go for the ice pick move. And that was the comment I made. And then to find out that someone had said that she was slutty because she posted what the actual fuck? She was wearing pajamas, man. And they weren't sexy fucking negligee pajamas. They were, you know, long
like
sleeve.
a button up.
Yeah, button up.
Yeah.
The least sexy pajamas. Yeah, at the most you could probably say cute would be about that. And I replied to the guy and I just said, mate, you've got some serious fucking issues if that's how you think. You know, for sure there are women who fucking use their sexuality, but so what?
I just think people who act like that need to go outside, touch some grass, and get a fucking reality check. The twat.
Yeah. Well, because kind of like to touch on like what Cairo said, you know, and what you said too, Lad, is just that obviously, you know, we need to not have that towards women, but also, you know, Cairo getting shit for, you know, just playing with somebody, another gamer. Yeah. It doesn't matter. And it was the same thing. I had a team up on a couple of days ago. I was playing with Shakalaka, and we ran into who I ended up finding out was Maui in game. And, you know, the three of us are just enjoying a team up together. We ran into some guys in city. I didn't say anything yet. And so the guys were cool. They were acting fine. I talked, and they just started beating the shit out of me. They knocked me unconscious. So, of course, Shaka and Maui, they defended me because we were playing together. Mm-hmm. Simple as that. And they got called simps and idiots and for defending me.
Wow.
Just because they were attacking the guys who attacked me. And it's just, you know, that's the sort of behavior towards the women involved, towards the men involved. It's just not fair. Like it's not.
Now, I want to elaborate on something as well. I just want to find the comment. Nighthawk made a very good comment about there. Now, I've said a few times so far, there's nothing wrong with having a joke, folks, but it's all about the context. Now, I'll give you an example. I'm playing day one. I don't play the servers, but just say I was, and I bump into Echo, and Echo says, "Oh, hi." And I go, "Oh, you're a female. Get in the kitchen and make me a Sammy."
It's not funny.
That's not funny. That's not fucking funny. There may be a context. I can't really think of a context of it, but there may be a context where, you know, Echo might do something and I could say, and Echo would laugh and I would laugh and it would be funny. But to walk up to someone and say, "Get in the kitchen and make me a Sammy," I know that's been used as a joke in the past, but that's not funny. That's just being a misogynist, sexist fucking douchebag. Yeah, walking up and going, yeah, oh, you're a girl who plays games. Oh, okay. Not many play games. You don't even need to say that. There are lots of fucking girls who play games. Just you might think you're being funny, but you're not. You're just being an obnoxious fucking dick.
Yeah. It's just like it doesn't need to be gender at all.
No, that's it. It's just another person playing a game. Awesome. And the way I see it, it's like if you can bond with that person, you've got a mutual interest in the game, friendship, bonded. Cool. That's it. That's all that needs to be. You don't need to be an arsehole.
My missus works from home and she sends me, like, I'll be sitting here on the computer and then she'll send me a text and it's like, I could really go a nice roast beef and cheese sandwich on it, Dale. And I go and I make her 2 rounds of sandwiches and I cut them nice and neatly.
You cut them diagonal or half?
It has to be diagonal.
It has to be diagonal.
People who cut
sandwiches taste better diagonal.
People who cut those rectangles, that's just fucking weird, man. That's just fucking weird. That's like people who hang the toilet paper under. I hang it over. It's got to be on the outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has to be over. Sandwiches have to be diagonally cut. It's a rule, all right? It just works.
Yeah.
I must be the odd one out here. What the
fucking douchebags, people? Stop it. Just stop it. Like we said before, if you're playing with people who do it, you can have a joke and all the rest of it. But if you are playing with people who are like that, just either say something to them or Stop playing with them. Just
Right.
we've got to let them know that this is unacceptable. Yeah, we can make fun of each other for a laugh. Yeah, I'm a big fan of comedians like Dave Chappelle and Bill Burr, and oh my God, they say some funny stuff. Like Bill Burr's got this great joke where he makes fun of the pay gap echo. Have you ever seen it?
No.
And this is, it's purely a joke. And he sits there and he says, women like to say that men earn more. And he goes, I'll tell you why men earn more. Because in the unlikely event, Echo, that you and I are on the Titanic, you get to go on the lifeboat first. So you can call my $1 extra that I get an hour as my compensation for men get off the boat. And it's a funny fucking joke. Even you're sitting there laughing at it. He's not making light of a massive issue. He's just having a joke about it. That's a good context. I mean, but to sit there and just bring something up like that randomly, it's just, no, that wouldn't be funny. Just,
I mean, there's a difference between being like, being like telling a joke,
having an asshole, like Cairo just said.
I was gonna say a word I can't say on Twitch, but yeah, let's use that.
Attrition, you better not fucking go there. Do not attack Vegemite.
I genuinely thought that was going to go down a completely different road. I just tapped on YouTube and I saw Vegemite. Fuck's sake. But oh no, that's it. He's going to get the Vegemite.
It's over.
Right. So thanks everybody for coming along on the podcast. We're going to oh fucking hell! But yeah, it's. It's an absolutely messed up situation, and obviously it doesn't just apply to today's community; it applies to everywhere. And it is wrong that it still occurs to this day. But the good thing that I like to see about it is that at least there are people out there who are trying to combat this, who are trying to make awareness of it. And get that shit off the screen.
Oh no!
All on your hand.
What is
the fuck?
Yum.
Boy is hungry, everyone. But that's the thing, is as long as people can talk about it, not about Vegemite, fuck that, but if people can talk about it, raise awareness and combat it, and just to see, because I just quickly checked your Twitter feed, and I saw the story that you put on there, and it's absolutely lovely to hear that the admins for that particular server, get that shit away, actually sat down, they banned the person, put it on the shared ownership, because that kind of stuff, it's not tolerated. It should not be tolerated. And I'm all for freedom of speech and shit like that. But there's no you can't. It doesn't give you an excuse to be an arsehole. Absolutely.
Right. And it's definitely one of those things too where I was talking about this the other day, and the fact that obviously there's people of every, I guess we all play DayZ differently. Some people like to RP, some people don't, really PvP, and there's no wrong way to play DayZ. And one thing that I do is I really, really work at, I really enjoy PvP. And, I was talking about how there probably is this like deep down sort of, I guess, neurotic part of me that is like, well, I have to be good at PvP because I have to prove myself that a woman can do it. And of course I do it because I enjoy it, but there is that part where like you feel like you're having to prove yourself because, I've had guys come in the stream and say, oh, why aren't you playing Candy Crush? Or, oh, I bet your favorite weapon is the broom, stuff like that. And I'm over here like, I like to just bloodbath murder people in the game. And no.
Right, yeah, we're definitely cutting the podcast early tonight.
I apologise, Echo, but you've now seen my Vegemite undies.
I've never tried it. I mean, I will say I've never tried it, so I can't exactly say.
Just don't. I just don't.
I saw skid marks. Well, it's kind of funny. In Australia, we call skid marks and undies at times Vegemite.
I don't want to hear any more of this conversation.
As he's like dipping his finger, like.
Your bum crack is also called Vegemite Valley.
Oh, shut up! Shut the fuck up! Honestly, shut up, please. Vegemite sponsor this one.
Delete the VOD.
delete the VOD. That's it. Oh, fuck it. Cut that out in the edit, please.
It's a yeast extract.
But it's shit, that's what it is.
Ingredients: yeast extract from yeast grown on barley and wheat, salt, mineral, salt, malt extract from barley, colour, flavours, niacin, thiamine, riboflavin, folate. It is extremely healthy. But if you ever get it, what I did, I'm an Aussie. So, it's probably a bit like fucking haggis for Scots. If someone who wasn't Scottish tried to eat haggis, or tripe or something like that, and you weren't familiar with it, you'd be revolted by the flavour of it. But it is not extremely disgusting. It is fucking beautiful on toast for breakfast in the morning. It is, even in Australia, they attribute it to the lower rate of birth defects with babies, because apparently I think it's high in folate. Which, for pregnant women or women who are thinking of becoming pregnant, a folate tablet is apparently a really good substitute. But most Australians, we all have a jar of this stuff just sitting around at home. It lasts for months, and it's a staple.
Please don't send me one. Please don't send me one. I don't want one.
I actually send Vegemite out to a few people every now and then.
You sent out a little bit with the Christmas.
Whoa! Huge news.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up.
I was going to bring it up as well.
Yeah, on Thursday, the dude Thor had his child went in for emergency C-section and came out. Everything seems to be on the up and up, and all good and healthy. So,
thank God.
There it is.
Yep, so the dude Thor is now a dad. Fucking.
It's a baby girl.
Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, that's so fucking cool. That's brilliant. I'm so proud of him.
FTC.
The dad Thor. That's it. The dad Thor. That's what he is. He's the dad Thor now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so fucking happy for that dude. Holy shit.
He's such a nice guy. Even though he doesn't play DayZ anymore, Echo, he's still. I understand why he's not here today. He still usually comes in here. We did the Christmas show and we did a bunch of giveaways, and he actually donated some merch to give away as prizes. He's just he's one of the nicest guys. If you ever need someone to teach you the ropes of Scum, if you're ever looking for it, hit up dude. He would be so happy to teach you it. And he's got some mad fucking DayZ skills. He was part of the Karma crew for a little while.
Okay.
And he used to play with Minder and Tope and all the rest of them. And he's got this clip on his profile where he takes someone out with about a 300 ping, and the shot has to be at least 800 meters, and the guy is driving a car.
Wait, I saw that on TikTok. I follow him on there. Yeah.
Yeah, he's just a machine. Just a good guy all round. So happy for him and his missus. A little bit worried that she had to have an emergency C-section, but I'm guessing if he's tweeting out that she's okay. So thoughts of prayers with the missus, mate. I hope everything went okay. But congratulations to him. Women are fucking awesome. They bring life into this world.
They are.
And as my missus told our son, she can take him out of it anytime she wants as well.
But
Did I just see that Gum has planes?
Yes. Yes, you did.
Go on, tell us about it. That's the
Okay.
next topic, I think.
But before we do, echo out the conversation we were just having before Bordy went on a Vegemite rant. Really, really interesting, and I would love to hear your more thoughts about it at some point. Dawn, if you want to discuss it more before we move on.
Yeah, we can.
Okay, so
Yeah, completely up to you guys.
No, go for it.
well, I kind of want to talk about it a bit more because to me, it's quite an interesting mindset to have where you have to prove to yourself that you can do these things. And I'm just kind of wondering, like, as somebody who struggles to understand that kind of stuff because of reasons I won't go into publicly, I'm quite interested in hearing more about that, actually. Like, about that mindset, about why you have to do that.
Yeah, so I mean, back in the day, right, in the old days of DayZ, there wasn't as many women. And I aside from Kiwo, I was really the only girl in the group of a ton of guys who were all very good at the game. And, and obviously it was much more than that. It was, we were all really good friends, and, but there is like that level of like, okay, this is what we like to do. We like to PvP, and it's what I enjoy in the game. But I guess, there's always that kind of, obviously not everybody thinks like this, but there's always that kind of that girls aren't as good at games than guys. And playing in a group of guys, it's not that I was proving myself to them or anything like that, but obviously the people that I played with were really good, and they made me better at the game. When I first met them, I wasn't very good at the game, and I learned so much from all of them. All of them had their own unique kind of thing they're good at. Like B was the sniper, and I learned so much from them, and I really found like a love for PvP in the game.
Right.
But when I came back, I was pretty trash because I was like, the game is just different. I was, playing by myself, and playing by yourself is a completely different, you don't have someone covering your back.
Absolutely is. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was finding myself in PvP situations, and I was losing. If it was just me or against two other people or against one other person. And I told myself, like, I want to be good at this again. I want to learn everything again and excel at it. So I went to V++ every single day. I played V++ for the past like 4 months, almost every day. I play a match or two, and then I've seen, and obviously it comes from just playing the game again too, but I've seen a huge, huge uptick in my ability to do well in a PvP situation. But, I think that there's this, sometimes there's a lot of people who don't think that the women can be good at it. And even though I do it for myself because I enjoy it, I do feel like there's a part of me that is like, I want to prove that anybody, whether they're a woman or not, as a woman, I can hang with the boys, as someone would call it, which is a fucked up thing to say, right? But that I can actually kick people's ass in the game, and I can excel at it.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's kind of a terrible thing that I have, that we have to have that mindset. But people do look at it that way, that, oh, she's a girl who's actually good at DayZ. And it shouldn't be that way, because we all can play the game any way we want. But I do have that kind of thought in my head of, I have to prove it.
See, it's quite interesting because, I mean, personally, I'm not that good at PvP. I've always been trash at it, and when I was streaming, there'd be people like, oh, you should do more PvP, and I'm like, look, I'm shit at it. I avoid the PvP. If I hear a gunfight, I'm going the opposite way. I value my life. I'm going somewhere else. I'm going to survive, explore more. I'm more of PvE. And when it comes to me having the mindset of what you were talking about, personally, obviously, I don't have it. I'm just like, if I'm shit at PvP, it is what it is. But it's really, really interesting. You know, the points that you have across, and it's like it's a viewpoint I never really considered. Mm-hmm. So I think I'm going to have to think more about that, because I mean, there's definitely a culture, and I can only assume, obviously, not in only just DayZ, but in other games in real life as well, where it's like the women have to prove to themselves that they're as good as the boys or whatever. But I don't really understand that. Maybe because it's me being a male, or maybe it's just because of my brain not being wired.
No, it's part of gaming culture. I've been struggling to understand why you don't see any pro female PUBG players. I watched the latest or the last year's PGC World Cup, or whatever it was called, PGSI. They've got so many different names and all the rest of it. But there wasn't a single female on any of the teams. But there are females who can play the game. There's one girl I can think of straight away off the top of my head. Is Danny, or Denise, or whatever her name is. I've watched her a few times. She's got a really quirky, chipmunky sort of voice that just grates through my brain. I can't watch her too long. But oh my fucking God, she's a beast. She's Shroud-like PvP skills. Absolutely insane. And just so laid back and casual and all the rest of it. But I don't understand why we're not seeing professional women. And yes, you could say because PUBG is trash and women have taste. But yeah, there are you played in Survivor games, didn't you, Echo?
No, not the old school Survivor games.
But there were a couple of females in those back in the day, and they did quite well. It's just, yeah, I don't know.
I think I don't know, and it's just there is that over kind of shadowing thing. You know, if someone comes into my stream, say they've never watched me before. A lot of people are obviously open to it, but there is that kind of dark shadow of they come in expecting that I'm bad, or they'll come in and the first thing they do is backseat me, and I'm like, dude, I have 3 times the amount of hours in the game that you do. You know what I mean? It's just assuming, and there is that there's a surprise a lot where it's a girl's good at PvP. So yeah, it's this weird kind of, like I said, obviously I do it for myself because I enjoy it.
Internal biases. We've all got them. We're never going to get rid of them, unfortunately. They're always going to be there. People might come in and assume that I'm good at the game, and then they watch me and they go, God, this guy's got over 10,000 hours and he's this bad still. But, it's just, it's an unfortunate part of life. We all have biases about so many aspects of everything. It's
just about beating those biases at the end of the day, even if it's just not something that I guess not something that you've inherently into. It's just I don't know. I can't really find the best words to describe it, but it's absolutely fucking kick-ass that you kick ass at PvP. It's fantastic. But I say that to everybody who's good at PvP, because it's the way I see it, it's if you're good at PvP, don't care what bloody gender you are, you're good at PvP. I'm going to be relying on you to protect me.
Yeah, but see, that's it, and that's the thing too, right? Is you don't have to be good at PvP to enjoy the game. There's so many. That's the beauty of DayZ, is that you can play any way that you want. And so I guess that it's one of those things that anybody, you can not like PvP like you, or, be bad at the game, and that is completely okay. I think it's just, just that the idea that, oh, she's a girl, she must be bad, right? The assumption of it all, right? But who cares if you're bad at the game? Yeah. If you enjoy it, that's all that matters at the end of the day.
Yep.
Exactly.
I would be the guy letting you go out and click all the heads, and I'll be back there fishing and having a nice hot meal waiting for you when you get back with all the good loot.
Exactly.
And that's because I'm like you, Pink Gaming. I'm passive when I play the game most of the time. I'm starting to change a little bit, and maybe I need to get on the V++ deathmatch servers myself. But I just like to play DayZ survivally, and I like to build my little bases and just explore and wander and hunt, and I played with a few people the other day, probably a couple of months back now on stream, and we were playing a high loot PvP server, and they were getting frustrated with me because I was jogging everywhere. But it was a no stamina stamina server, and you could sprint everywhere. And I was like, yeah, but you're still burning through your food quicker. So jogging still pays off. And they were like, boy, he just fucking... Was that with you, Mark?
Oh, was this... Yeah, it was with me and whoever else, yeah.
Yeah. And they're like...
there's food for days.
And I go past a deer and I'm like, oh, yeah, I should kill that. And they're like, boy, you don't need to. There's food everywhere. And I'm like, but it's just... It's there. It's one shot, and then I can run over and skin it. And that's how I like to play. Everyone plays differently.
While there was a war going on 200 meters away from him, he's thinking about killing this deer.
It's an important deer, okay? but sometimes, even as someone who I like to go on Essiker and just PvP and stuff like that, but sometimes it is so nice to have a change of pace. Like I went on Banov the other day and by myself, just a solo run, and just, exploring and enjoying the game and looking at cool features. And, it's nice to do that because DayZ is a beautiful game. It's so enjoyable to jog through the woods, not even really maybe have like a destination, just exploring. And, and Banov is a great map for that. So yeah, that's just the beauty of DayZ.
Mm-hmm. It is.
And I got someone killed there on accident. I was like, hey, want to see something cool? There's a cool thing down here. I was like, let's go look at it. And I'm like, he didn't have a gas mask. And I just met him randomly in game. And I was like, well, we could go look at something cool. I'll show you and we can go on an adventure. Kubler changed it. It's different now. And he died to the gas. So
apparently his name was Adam, Chad is saying.
It was Adam. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I have a reputation of getting Adams killed in the game. So yeah.
Sumrak is never going to play with you then.
Yeah, my chat gives me hell for it. And then I wore his face, to commemorate him. So.
Then she wore his face, apparently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I cut up his face, and then I wore it, and then I ran into him again, wearing his face, and we went on an epic adventure.
Channeling your inner Arya Stark.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, we were talking about it before. Let me just bring it up again. Sorry, folks, we're diverting a bit away from DayZ here because it got mentioned before.
Yes. Bad scum, yes.
Not months, we're talking weeks. Wait, traitors and scum?
So, just to confirm, that model is based on me. No.
Yeah, it looks like it.
No, it's not. But yeah, so the new update. It's good we've got Lax in chat because he actually played it apparently last night. But they've got crop dusters, airstrip locations, dogfighting, parachutes, new movement mechanics, new respawn system, sky jumping, mid-air poses, new place of interest locations, NPC traders, mechanic, general store, armory.
There's traders.
Yep. Right. Economy system, in-game money, trading, exchange money for services, NPCs, meta-human supported, meta-human supported NPC.
Meta-human,
yeah. Network optimization, bandwidth optimization, smoother vehicle and player movement, server-side object handling optimization. So it's a pretty meaty update, folks. I know they're actually, if you are interested in checking out the game Echo, get in contact with someone who's an established creator there. The one thing I'll give them is they're very supportive of the content creators who are playing their game. They, even those who aren't but have in the past, like they reached out to me. I got access to the servers. I tried to join, but I was having some issues. I was actually going to stream this morning. I was up uber early before the stream so I could have a feel of it. But it's still going strong, Scum, folks. But, just people have got to remember, Scum is not DayZ. DayZ is not Scum. It's okay to like both. But, yeah, Scum has, I would honestly say, an even steeper learning curve than DayZ. For the,
That's what I've heard, yeah.
It is insanely complex in some aspects. But
I will say that update looks fucking good.
Yeah.
Never touch Scum.
Same.
That's me. Want to uninstall something on my SSD and install Scum.
it's
The one thing Scum I always thought done better, and it's just from kind of watching it, is they always seem to do vehicles better. Like if you compare DayZ and Scum, people will. The one thing Scum has over DayZ is its vehicles. And, it has planes, it has bikes, it has cars. Like, the cars seem to work very well. That's what DayZ need to work on, is their vehicles. And I know they are with the thing that's coming out soon, but that's one thing Scum trumps over DayZ.
Hey, Echo, do you remember Charlie DayZ?
Charlie, I do. Okay,
He's in
so
chat
I was
right
actually Charlie. Okay, so I hope I'm not wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure it was Charlie put out a video that was like, oh, why we love DayZ or something. And it was this like super cool video that was really showcasing just like the beauty of DayZ. After there was some I think there was some negative stuff with DayZ at the time. I actually was going through my liked videos on YouTube the other day because I just had so much trash in there. I came across the video and it was just, was that Charlie? Charlie, was that you? It was just this
Charlie
video.
He also used to do the Duck Hunter videos, if you remember
Okay.
that.
Vaguely.
He met Jam when Jam was doing Prize Surprise Demise. He was one of the contestants, and Charlie saying, yes, that was him who did that video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that video because it was just...
At the time, other than Vigilante Gamer, Charlie was probably the biggest Australian DayZ content creator.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was forever ago because it reminds me of... I was thinking about putting together a video because people would come in and be like, well, why do you play DayZ? And you can't really break it down to one singular thing, right? And I was thinking about putting together just clips of just the amazing times you have in DayZ, whether it's running, jogging through the woods, singing with friends, and screaming over VoIP, something silly. Just the amazing, genuine times you have in DayZ. And Charlie's video, that one particular video, is what reminds me of that. Of why we play DayZ, why we love the game like we do.
Yeah. But no, back to Scum, they do the vehicles well. The vehicles in Scum are very nice. A little bit simple at the moment, but I know they've got some big plans with that down the line. So if you haven't yet, fire it up again, folks. Have a look at it. But it is definitely a game that you may find you'll have to go watch some how-to guides. From what I heard, Lax couldn't even work out last night how to use a bandage because they've got this weird system where you have category 1, 2, 3, or 4 bleeds. And depending on the severity is how many rags you'll need to use. Like if you've got a category 4 bleed, you're probably going to die if you've only got rags on you. But you need... there's other forms of bandages, like you could put a tourniquet on and hemostatic pressure bandages, and if you've got them, they cure more of a damage. It's a very complex system, which everyone knows I'm into cock and ball torture when it comes to playing DayZ. So I actually don't mind the severity of the way that they've done it. Traders, I'm not so sure on that. But I haven't played with them, so I don't know how it works. Yeah.
Yep.
Depends
what they're like. The one thing I'll say is when I'll play Scum when they fix their controls, so I don't have to use scroll wheel to run. I don't understand that at all.
Oh,
It's very weird. Their controls are like arseways.
I have it. I just looked at my Steam and I have it. I've never installed it, but I think someone maybe gifted it to me or something a long time ago when I first kind of was coming around. I mean, it kind of reminds me, I guess, not the game itself, but just having that more complex like healing system, like more like Tarkov type deal, or you have particular like heavier bleeds and stuff like that.
The other thing to be aware of, Echo, is one of the big differences, and this is why I say it's similar to DayZ, but it is nothing like DayZ. DayZ is a game that, other than a few minor things such as your connection to the server, the power of your computer, everyone's on a level playing field. It comes down to pure skill and choices you make in the game, such as what clothing you wear, what gun you have. If you've got an amphibia and you're going up against an M4, you're going to die unless you've caught that person at a well. Scum though has this system with attribute points, which affects your ability with certain things, and you can give points to certain skills, and you can earn points in the game, and it's a very complex system. You really do need to watch a few videos, guides on it, because depending on what points you give yourself is how good you will ever be at certain things. And then you can affect things such as your camouflage. You can make yourself harder to spot. So I could be staring at you and I just may not have a good enough awareness score, and you have a better camouflage score, and I won't be able to see you. It's not a case of I just didn't see you. It's I won't be able to see you. The game won't let me see you.
Wow.
And then there's points for melee fighting and for sniping ability. So you've got to earn those points, and you can do that in the game. But yeah.
So is there like a meta? I mean, obviously, so like taking a look to make sure you're building your character correctly. But can you build your character to like the type of gameplay that you'd want? Like if you wanted to be a sniper, you would kind of go towards that. So you'd be right. Okay, that's really cool. Yeah.
And the building system is far superior to DayZ's. You can upgrade the walls, and it's so beautiful, their building system.
Wow. I kind of want to download it now and give it a shot. I'm curious. I mean, obviously it goes in the realm of the type of games, survival and
survival genre.
Yeah.
Yep.
I looked at 63 gigs.
Remember as well, the law is different. It is not an apocalypse. Everyone is prisoners, political prisoners apparently, because that's all the rage these days. And they're all put on this island by a corporation to basically fight for the entertainment of viewers. So it's a bit Hunger Gamesy in that regard. There's events that happen. You can go do bunker raids, and then there's loot drops that you can go and contest if you want. And yeah, so it's similar. It's in the same genre, but I'm really glad they're not just trying to copy DayZ. They do talk about DayZ a bit on their Twitter. That one day they want to be the #1 open world survival game, and that's an admirable goal. But I don't know if anyone's going to beat Rust anytime soon. Everyone seems to focus on DayZ.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice to see though games taking their own direction for it, right? Because I think there's a lot of people who probably aren't going to want to deal with maybe like as complex of systems as maybe Scum might have, and DayZ works better for them in that regard. So, you can play each game differently for the type of playthrough essentially, or in game experience that you want.
The fishing in the game is beautiful. Oh my God. I love the fishing. It's an actual mini game. You know how it used to be in DayZ where you would feel a nibble and you could choose to reel it in, and now it's just sit there and spin the wheel until you catch something, which is horrible. I hope to God one day that should go on my bingo card for this year, that they improve.
I love fishing.
But on that one, it comes down to the type of rod you have, to the type of hooks you're using, to the type of bait you use, whether you're going to be able to catch the fish. And you've it's an actual little mini game in a game. It's unbelievable. I love their fishing. If with the right server, you can have a really good PvE survival experience. With the elements of PvP and base raiding and all the rest of it.
So for the servers themselves, are they all like official servers or are they like community
there are
hosted?
community servers as well, but there's no dedicated servers as yet, so that does affect performance. But yeah, that will hopefully come sometime in the future, and no modding either. But yeah,
interesting. Yeah.
The other game I wanted to showcase for everyone, this is a single player game.
Oh, okay. Now I'm interested.
Road to Vostok.
Ooh.
Oh, you mentioned it before. Yes.
We'll go to the website because the videos are quite long. A hardcore single-player survival game set in a post-apocalyptic border zone between Finland and Russia. So basically the way it is the world is broken up into 3 sections, I believe. There's the safe zone, which is where if you die, you'll respawn with your gear and all the rest of it. But the gear there is not that good. Then there's like a transition zone where you're crossing over into the hardcore zone. And the hardcore zone is permadeath. You'll lose everything, including stuff you have in a shelter that's there. So you get to choose between what you want to do. But if we go to their channel, I'll mute it just to give you guys a...
So is this game out, or is it still in development?
Still in development.
Oh, it's a bit sketchy, so.
Single person. He's a Finnish ex-military officer. Yeah.
Should be the main selling point and a sandbox for storytelling. The second example is RuneScape and its wasteland zone called The Wilderness. The Wilderness is a North region part of the game world. It's a PvP-focused, high-risk, high-reward zone and easily one of the most dangerous places in the game. The Wilderness contains hostile players and monsters and is also separated from the safer areas by a wall or a ditch. The key element of this zone is the risk.
Yeah, I am going to mute it because it looks like that music may be copyrighted. But it's just intriguing for me. Seems to have a nice visual style. Single player, so if you're just not wanting to deal with other people and online players, which is kind of goes against what a lot of DayZ players would be interested in. We play DayZ because we want to interact with other people. But I'm watching this game very, very closely. Yeah. There's
Again,
his roadmap.
2023 for public demo 2022. Okay, I see.
There's the one thing I always say, buddy, and it goes for anyone. Don't believe anything until you actually get a demo. Like, don't type yourself up like a lot of people did with Dead Matter. They were like, "Oh, this is going to be the greatest survival game out there," and then that released, and
Fallout 76.
look how bad that was. Fallout 76. But you just have to.
2042.
Yeah, you just have to stay on the fence until you actually get gameplay. And if it is good, then even better. But yeah, we've seen a lot of these games come out and just be really, really bad or highly unfinished. So
I do have a question actually about that, about Dead Matter. If we can touch on it.
Mm-hmm.
I kickstarted Dead Matter.
Me too.
Yeah. I played it. Very short play because it was impossible to play. And then, there was the whole debacle with getting the keys, right? And that whole thing.
Yes, I remember.
It was a disaster. And everybody was so excited. And then when it came time to get the keys, it was just... Because people occasionally do ask about it. And I'm like, well, it was NDA. I couldn't stream it. I couldn't do anything.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Still under, really.
Yeah. So I was just curious, like, if it was still even doing anything.
It's still getting developed.
Okay.
It's still getting developed. So they stopped development over the past couple of months because they were restructuring the company and moving people into Calgary itself. And they've just announced that they've restarted development. they have said that obviously they're still working on the game. They agreed when 0.07 came out that before then the game was just not where they wanted it to be, so they've basically redone everything from scratch. Does it still play? Unfortunately, due to an NDA, I'm not allowed to say. Mm-hmm. But it's interesting. It's an interesting development. That's what that's what we can say. Really. I do hope the best for the game at the end of the day, because it's interesting, but it's like it's just one of those games. But to their credit, they're still working on it. And you can tell, obviously, they're not professionals.
I refunded my Kickstarter. I bought 2 packs by accident, so I was kind of happy to be able to get the refund on it. But I hope I just cracked a nice joke in chat. I see we've got vodka in chat, and I just said, hope you aren't wearing those pajamas again. Vodka, but yeah,
the dreaded slutty pajamas.
I'm not even going to say that word. I'm glad you said the word. But yeah, we talked about that before, vodka, and just how fucking retarded that guy was. Oh god, I'm going to get cancelled for saying the R word. But I'm sorry, he probably is. He probably fucking is to have a take like that on something. But yeah, he was. You're being very polite there, vodka. He was so weird. He was a fucking nut job. Absolutely.
I thought it was a great video. So
yeah, it was awesome. But yeah, but no, Dead Matter was a tragedy. A bit like Survive the Nights. I think I backed Survive the Nights as well.
Survive the Night? Is that another?
That was the one where the zombies were they were slower during the day, because I streamed it. Yeah, and honestly, it was kind of a cool concept, right? Like you still had to be careful during the day, but then, the nights would get crazy and you would take the chance of going out. And I remember at the time when I first played it, it was bad. But the devs came into my stream, there's a couple of them, and they were showing me like dynamic snow events. And at the time I was like, oh my God, dynamic snow events? I thought that was really cool, and it made me really excited for the game, because we had always wanted like a winter DayZ or, something like that. Just having that sort of dynamic weather is so interesting, and we didn't really get a ton of it before. So I was really excited for that, but it was pretty much unplayable, and it didn't go anywhere after that.
That would be a cool PC. That would be cool DayZ mod if somebody were able to make a mod like that with the zombies, where they are slow during the day and then. Have they?
People have.
They probably have.
I'm pretty sure they have. Yeah, because you can modify. You can modify the infected states. So I remember on New Dawn, when that server was still around, bless it. But when the season would move to winter, the developers, Dumpgra, he made it so only the infected could only jog. They couldn't sprint after you, because the winters were that cold, that freezing. It froze the infected, so they were more stiff, so they couldn't sprint up after you. It was a pretty interesting concept, but I'm pretty sure there is a mod that already does it out there. The PVZ mod. Yeah, I'm pretty sure something like that is there.
PVZ mod. Right. I'll have a look.
I'm pretty sure, yeah. So
yeah, because I've seen the HP makes the zombies slow during True Colors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I've seen that in that sense.
PVZ mod does not exist. Okay. Oh, as probably
Steam
just
Workshops. The Steam Workshop's been a bit funny. Yeah.
Oh no.
I mean,
no.
Back up now, is it?
There's probably a mod for almost everything out there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yes, I mean there's a mod for. In fact, I'm not even going to finish that sentence. It's fine. Doesn't matter.
Speaking of mods, Mark, you shared one in the Discord. R22R storage overhaul. What's this about?
Oh yeah, there's. I always look through the workshop just to try to find new mods for either videos or, whatever. to do research, and I saw this one, and it looked kind of like a more vanilla-ish styled storage mod than like a heavily modded, like all out military styled one. There's a lot of like wooden storage pieces there, and it just looked a lot better than all those like high tier military ones that are out there that are that you can put code locks on and all this stuff. And it just looked really, really cool. Like the details of that, you can see like the grenades in their storage boxes and everything like that. It just looked cool.
See the scopes in there? Yeah, that looks cool.
Yeah.
I wonder how much impact this would have on servers, though.
Well, if the boxes are done by, they look familiar. 2 seconds. The boxes look very, very familiar. I'm not too sure of. Oh. They look like something Matt's done for them. Matt's done a commission for wooden boxes for a storage mod a while back. They look very familiar, but I could be wrong. Actually, no, I am probably wrong.
Even the gun racks and stuff that are there as well. I think you can craft everything as well.
Yeah, so if this person is done it right, so mod talk. So the way that so weapon proxies are a nightmare. So this fuck's sake, lad, twat, stop being a twat. So in video games, there's a lot of people might know there's something called level of distance. And level of distance allows a model to change how much stuff is rendered based on that, obviously, level of distance. So if this person has made it so at a distance, the models themselves are quite significantly reduced, and the weapons aren't rendering, performance is going to be it's going to be great. But at the end of the day, it's going to be up to server owners to limit how many can be crafted at any given time, because obviously if you have a server or an area like, I don't know, Electro, and every single building's full to the brim of all of them, all filled with guns, vanilla-wise, it's going to be a bit of a pain in the ass, like the vanilla guns, but if it's modded weapons, it's going to be even more of a pain in the ass, because a lot of modders who do weapons don't know how to optimize the models much, unfortunately. So,
okay, quick question. Who is Spurgle?
The name sounds familiar.
He's a fucking godsend in the DayZ Modders Discord. Him and Zmag, I believe it's Zmag, they absolutely top notch in the DayZ Modders community. They help people in that community basically learn quite a lot of stuff. And Spurgle, he creates video tutorials on modding. And I haven't quite checked out his channel yet, but he has been talking to people. He's been helping people a lot with the modding community, and it's just really, really nice to see. It's really, really awesome, and I can't give him enough praise for it. Really, he's every single day, even if I'm taking a break at work and I'm just on my phone, just looking into it, and I'm like, oh, there's Spurgle again, just talking to somebody and like, read the pinned messages, check out these videos, look up Love Zmag, because that's kind of like a running thing. And it's really, really cool to see. It's really, really awesome.
It's insane how, the amount of people that put so much time and energy and effort into all these little things that improve so many like different aspects of the game.
Yeah. It's really, really cool, and pardon me.
Like I just said in my tweet then, well, I have never heard this name, and I only found it because we're looking at this mod. And he said R22R storage was inspired by Spurgle's tutorials on YouTube. And I'm like, who the fuck is Spurgle? What's a Spurgle? And then I click on the link, and I find this guy's got fucking something we've talked about many a time. There's been a few, like Michael Cullen's got some guides out there. I know Big Grandpa's got some guides out there for making maps and stuff like that. But we've got a playlist here of DayZ modding clothing pause, DayZ modding item pause, DayZ modding beginner basics. How many times have I said we need someone to do a guide on that? And
there you go.
Got a ton of stuff in there.
Yeah.
Lad, isn't it funny how Buddy's always saying that he needs these other creators to get on top of these modders, and then he doesn't know half these modders. Bad DayZ YouTuber. Bad.
To be fair, I have been meaning to check out Spurgle's channel because I have wanted to send it across to Boydie to cover, but I just never get the fucking time to. Unfortunately, like I work a full-time job at this point in time, and my hours are only going to go up. Hooray!
Sorry, I'm just laughing at Mario trolling MDC in chat there. He called out Mario earlier, and he was lurking. Mario, I don't know whether you know who Mario is, Echo. He's basically god tier. He's probably the most. How do I word this so that I can make it a little bit funny? But
he's developing a mod called like an animation framework because the DayZ modding tools doesn't have a native animation support. So animations are only restricted to vanilla.
The most important person in DayZ you've never heard of. 99% of people have never heard of. You probably heard of Inclement Dab. He's the guy who no, you haven't heard of Inclement Dab?
No.
Okay, so Inclement Dab, he's a very well-known modder. He's the guy who created the event for Sumrak for the Namolsk map. You know, that when the boom and it goes red, and he created the orb, and he's fucking god tier himself. And I put a tweet out. We had Mario on as a guest in the on the podcast a while back, and I was stunned by what he was making. So basically, if you wanted to add a twerk dance to a character in DayZ, he's creating the tools that will enable people to create that as a custom move. So they're not limited to the stock animations that the game provides, that you can do anything. And we've seen little dribbles of it coming out. What's the server that has the beasts that were...
So those are the Stalker Z mods. So is extra clarification as well. So an amendment to what I just said before, you can put in custom animations into DayZ. However, you can only add one custom animation mod at a time. If you try and run two, the later one in the load order will overwrite the original. So there'll be servers which will have like I play on a Stalker-based server, and they have animations so you can do like a Slav squat and stuff like that, and you can do like other kind of like different animations. Really interesting, but it's pretty interesting. It's pretty good stuff. I mean, it interests me at the very least. So,
yeah, no, it's crazy. I mean, I'm still learning about so many, like, you know, the people who are behind everything because, you know, there's so much, and being gone in that entirety of when everybody started doing these things, it's just, it's crazy. So I have a lot of respect for all of you. So
they're my true heroes. I love content creators, but we've got a bit of a running thing here on the show, you know, hashtag adopt a modder. Modders need more love and attention, especially from content creators, to let people know about these people who are just doing God's work. Like you've seen the Q&A spam that's no longer in the game now. They removed it, Echo, but where people would run and they're going full sprint, and it's just totally and we were talking about that on a stream, and someone watching the stream actually designed and uploaded a mod that nerfed it before the dev team did, right while we were doing it. And that's just the sort of thing that these people can do. And yeah, Mario's got this set of tools that when I found out about it, I was just stunned at what it was going to mean for the game, to enable people to... I know there's certain limits, like there's a hard cap on animations or something, as to, or no, is that liquids, or there might be only so many...
There's a hard cap to liquids, yes. So there's only so many liquids that can be implemented into the game without the liquid system being completely overwritten. Which is that's a fuck on. There's no point. But
there's so much to it, Echo. And if you ever wanted, don't be afraid to. What am I maxing myself out for? Most of these guys are very happy to come on if you've got questions as well while you're streaming. If you want to get them on as a guest and just ask them about what they do, and some of them are pretty poor at interpreting it so that dummies like me can understand it. But that's why we have Lad here, because he's able to break it down quite well, actually, so that I can have a rough understanding of what the hell they're talking about. But yeah,
it's so beyond any realm of what I understand and know, and I think it's especially not being very in tune with all that and being away. You don't realize how much goes behind, like the little things that you didn't realize that someone was behind that, working hard to have a hand in it. I mean that's huge.
Yeah. But no,
I was sorry. Go on.
No, you go, mate. I was just going to say some awesome stuff. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, I've actually, this month is actually 2 years since I started modding, ever.
Nice.
2 years. It's fucking weird. So. Yeah, stop it. But
have yourself a swig of Iron Brew to celebrate.
You know what, son? I think I'll fucking do that. Fucking come here, boy. Nice. Anyway, so because before I got into, I will get that sponsorship. I fucking will. But yeah, because before I got into modding, I had absolutely no clue on how to do any 3D modeling, coding, anything like that. And then lockdown started, a lot more free time, and then I got involved with Dumpgra, who's an absolutely fantastic modder. He does Scum content, actually. He's streaming Scum right now, which is really cool. He taught me the basics, and then now I'm in all sorts of little fucking pies, and it's ridiculous, and I need a break.
Yeah.
But modding is really, really fun, and the satisfaction that you get from people who's like, oh my god, this mod is really, really fucking cool. Or even if somebody like critiques it, like genuine critique goes so fucking far. It's amazing.
Well, even on like at the map side of things, in True Colors, Zarge and I were just the two of us at the end. So we had a little bit of downtime where we were running, and I actually saw Zarge in chat. And just kind of talking to him, first person there, about how much time and energy and effort goes into making a map from scratch, especially Zarge, who didn't know anything about making a map. Started from the beginning, had no knowledge, and, created something from the ground up of learning how to do all that. I watched John McClane work on Deer Isle, and all that stuff is so interesting to me because it's so beyond anything that I understand. And when I watched, I was watching Zarge, create, like, work on a building and the components and weight and all this shit. I'm like, I have no idea. Insane. It's so insane. It's just, I just give so much props to everybody who works on stuff behind the scenes and, puts out stuff to, it's obviously you don't put time and energy and effort into something unless you enjoy it, and they put it out for us to enjoy. So,
well, that's it. That's the main thing.
You brought me to something as well that I remembered, and I think we overlooked it at the time. But I remember Zarge had a post there on Twitter where I think it had gotten to him a bit, some of the comments that were being made about his map and that. And Zarge, all I can say, buddy, is fuck the haters, mate. I think you said it or someone said it in that thread. But go make your own fucking map. See if you can do better.
Yeah.
Just be grateful that there are people doing this and uploading free content for us to enjoy. Hashtag adopt a modder.
Yep. Exactly.
Damn right.
All the people who like to talk shit, they couldn't do anything better. They won't even know where to start, and they want to, you gotta give the respect where it's due.
Yep. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we are pretty much close to the end now. We do like to do individual spotlights. Is there anything at all that you would like to shout out, Echo?
I mean, I guess. Oh gosh, I don't know.
Don't worry, it always puts people on the spot. It's fine.
I mean, I guess just like anything that's coming up. Obviously, I'm very happy you guys invited me to be on here. Next weekend, of course, too, I'll be in the Survive Duos event for HB's event. So I'll be on Saturday the 19th.
I'm in that as well.
Oh, what day are you on?
Saturday.
Oh, fuck. Yeah. Saturdays, yeah, it's going to be crazy.
It's going to be fun.
I'm really excited. So I will be partnering with Dr. Dreist. He's my partner. And I never got to do the original Survivor game, so I'm really excited for, something that's similar.
I want BI to bring that back. The Survivor Games game was shite, but I honestly feel with all my heart, Echo, that Queens of the Castle proved that, that wasn't even, this is not having a go, but that wasn't even a high level production. That was a bunch of content creators doing what they could with fairly limited assets, no big money coming in like you see with some of the online events. I think a well-run Survivor Games would absolutely break Twitch again. There's nothing like it, nothing fucking like it. And how dare you say no, lad?
Yeah, no, leave those dead and buried.
No.
I think that, I'm so happy to see so many events because regardless if you win or lose, you meet so many people in the process. Like, it's an opportunity to meet a ton of other creators and just people who play the game. And I think, the Survivor games back in the day they were so hype. And I always wanted to be in them so bad, but I never got invited. I wanted to be in it so bad. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see just, a ton of people putting work into having these events. And I did True Colors, and then Queens of the Castle. I did one of Cairo's TDM events last week or the weekend before. Yeah, it was really fun, and I'm excited for this Survive event because I know it's going to be kind of the closest to.
Okay, MDC, I need to address that. Well, that's the problem. The exclusivity of these events. It's always rough when you see people comment that the average player can't go and do these events. The average player can do these events. They've just got to run them themselves or get on a community that runs those sorts of events for the members of the community. When you're talking about getting content creators in, these are people who are making a living from what they're doing. And we all know, Echo, you talked about it before, about stream snipers and hackers and things like that. It is such a ball breaker for people who are organising it, if to have, say, half content creators, half average players from the community, because they've got to carefully screen every single one of those people to make sure that they're not just someone who's going to join an event just to try and shit on it. And there are people who love shitting on things for their own enjoyment. Stream snipers get it all the time. Hackers do it all the time. So I know it sucks when when you're not someone of note. Even when you don't receive merch that the DayZ dev team send out. I know it sucks, but there's only a limit to how many people can be included in something. Don't take it personally. Take it as a challenge to rise up to get to that level where you could do it. If you don't want to be a streamer, then at the end of the day, it's up to the person organising the event who they let into the event. They're the one putting all that time and effort into it. Happy Bombs does a lot of work behind the scenes for these events. He's probably the king of events on DayZ at the moment. Cairo in chat would be able to say how much effort goes into just organising it. Not as much as it used to back in the day. We've talked about that, where everyone had to find gear and spend a week looting up and hoping someone didn't kill you, and now they can spawn everything in. But there's still a lot of work that goes on. Even just creating the mods to enable a different type of event with special events happening, in-game events and things like that. There's a lot of work goes into it, so it might suck if you're not able to do it, but it is what it is.
I'm nearly certain with Cairo's event that he done the PvP one, I'm nearly certain there was not the Team Deathmatch one, but the one before that. I'm nearly certain there was some people that weren't content creators that were in that as well.
Yeah, there were.
Well, and I know... Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. When they saw JLK and stuff in the server, then they like freaked out over the mic and stuff like that for a while. So I was like, yeah, you have to be careful as to what they might say as well, but they were fine, like, so.
Yeah, and I was gonna say on that too, I know, I think there were some people who weren't streaming like True Colors either. It was like a, first come first serve sign up thing. I think it tends to lean a lot more towards content creators, but I think I had one or two people on my team who didn't stream, or maybe streamed once and haven't streamed in months. So a lot of times it's there are streamer specific ones, but keeping just an eye out for signups, because a lot of them are first come first serve. They're high, people want in on them, so the spots fill up quickly. Because I have seen some people talk about, wanting to get in on even like the HB events. I turn on HB tweet notifications. Anytime he tweets, I get an alert. So anytime he tweets about an event, I've got it coming up on my phone so I can sign up right away.
Yep. There's things you can do to increase your chances. And, even as you said, there were some people who weren't content creators, but they were probably people of note, people who do a lot, people who you can easily look at and go, yeah, that person is going to treat this event seriously. Of course I'm going to let them in. They're always here. They're always supporting our community, or me as a streamer, or something like that. If you want to get in on one of these True Colors events, go and fucking start watching Happy Bomb stream all the time. Become a person of note in his community. I'm not saying you need to chuck money at him, but just be there and support him. And if he does have a slot, he'll probably, be open to putting someone into it.
He just asked under his tweets. He just asked, it was like, who wants to play? Just comment underneath. And that's what I done. And that's how I got in, so.
Yeah. And one thing I would do want to mention for MDC7, with the original Survivor games, me mentioning I always wanted to play, it was definitely different back then. Events weren't ran like they are now. The original Survivor games was definitely a different...
It was a proof of concept back then as well. There'd really been nothing ever done like Survivor games. Survivor games created a genre. We've talked about that in the past, the history of Survivor games and how it led to Battle Royale exploding. But it was massive, and they actually had sponsors coming on board for those last ones. The first one I don't think they did, but once they proved that they could break Twitch, they set player records for how many people were watching Survivor games back then. Once they proved it, then the sponsors came on, and the sponsors have expectations. They're going to want peoples of certain caliber, they're going to draw it in. So it sucks when you're not, but like we said earlier, it's just use that as inspiration to get bigger yourself, to become a person of note, that they would sit there and say, yes, it is worth us inviting this person because they're going to increase the exposure of our event as well. So,
right, even if it's someone who's not playing it all the time, that's like, at the time I don't think Summit was playing constantly, but Summit had played DayZ, but Summit is such a large name to add to the event. So it was that kind of thing. And exactly what, more Happy Bomb types events, but back then it was like, we just need people who are semi-familiar with the game, who are big content creators, to allow them to showcase what they can do. So yeah, makes sense.
Are we going to update the folks on the future of the podcast, Boydie?
Yes, we shall, actually. Give me 1 second. I'm just getting a link for someone.
Okay.
For those who are interested in a trip of nostalgia, this is the actual Survivor Games YouTube channel, where you can go in and you can watch the events. They even used to do qualifiers where people who weren't exactly massive, it surprises me you never got invited to at least a qualifier, Echo, to be honest.
I don't know.
The likes of Minder, I think the Running Man did. They were all very small back in the days of Survivor Games. But they were invited to play in a playoff elimination to get a guest spot along with all the big names, your Summits and your Gold Glove or whatever his name is, and all those massive names, Psy Syndicate and so on. But yeah, so that's the channel link. Go check it out. I quite often do go back and watch it. And I still follow the Survivor Games Twitter handle. Praying one
just
day
in
to see,
case.
just in case, notifications on, just in case. One
I was
day.
just about to say you still got your notifications on and that. Yeah.
If that ever happens, I'll definitely be coming back on for a guest appearance on a podcast. Oh my god, that'd be a wet dream for me. Okay, future of the show.
Do you want me to take over for this bit?
Go for it.
So, as everybody knows, Boydie is leaving the podcast in the very near future. Originally, it was going to be for the 100th episode. That's now been changed to the 102nd episode, just so we can clear up the rest of the
scheduled
guests that we have. Yes. I will be the one that is taking over as the lead host. Boydie is going to still be helping in the background. He's not going to be gone forever. Always said that he's more than welcome to come back as a guest host. That's kind of like the main solid thing. So the podcast isn't going anywhere at all. I do hope that I can continue to improve the podcast, and I really do hope that all you guys, you stick around and you watch us and you give me a chance. Very fucking scary, not gonna lie, but that's the way that it's going to be after Boydie leaves.
I may as well put in. I'll be stepping away as well from a co-host, but I'm going to step away as a co-host, but I'm going to be there to help Lad set up everything that he needs to set up in the background. I'd like to come on for some of the update episodes as well when an update drops.
Oh yes, too. Right.
That weekly episode, that'd be cool to do. But otherwise than that, I'll be stepping back as well and just mainly focusing on the behind the scenes instead of hosting.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you said that, Max, because I was a bit like, oh, should I mention it? No.
So basically, I'll be still maintaining financial responsibility. So all the costs associated with the show, the Discord boosts and stuff like that, I'll still be taking care of it. I've spoken with Lad about, I still want it to stay as part of the 87.8 Survivor FM family. But Lad is going to be taking creative control of the show. So he may be looking at a new time slot. He may be looking at, he is looking at new co-hosts. We're really looking for someone to come on to help represent console better.
Yes, I want somebody who, like Boydie said, I want somebody who represents the console players, because I personally want to have more of a focus on those folks. They do some really great things over there with what they have. Always really interested in. And I also want a PC focused person who may be a content creator as well. That's kind of what I want. So one modder, one console player, and one PC player / content creator. That's what I'm looking for. I feel having the show having 2 or more of those kind of people representing will be a bit much. So that's the plan I have. We are most likely going to be changing. Yeah, I know, Project Lemons. I just answered your question. And DayZ Daily Press. Yeah, that's about right. Chances are we are going to be moving the schedule. No idea as of yet, but we will be announcing that in the future. It's going to take some time for everything to get set up, but we will be keeping you guys updated. And like I said, I hope you guys give me a chance. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm really looking forward to having the more guests come on. I'm really looking forward to the future of the podcast, and I'm really looking for all of you to stick by me and keep on what Boydie's been keeping on for the past God knows how many years.
and like Mark said as well, probably updates won't be ones that I'll be interested in, but like Mario just said in chat there, when he releases the framework, the docs and the tools on how to use it, for sure. I'll reach out to the lad and we'll schedule getting Mario on ahead of time, hopefully, so we can plan that one and do it in conjunction with when he releases everything. 2026. But I'll still make guest appearances as well when there's something that's of interest. As for the one-to-one stuff, that's what I plan on trying to get back to. It's always bothered me that the podcast has done so well, but my Spotlight series has been much maligned. What was the last one I did? I can't even remember off the top of my head. But I want to get back to doing those one-to-one interviews with people where we spend more time. We sort of do it a little bit on the podcast, like with you, Echo. We started talking to you. But I don't know if you've ever watched any of my Spotlight interviews, but there's a certain format, a certain style, and we can really get in deep, just two people, so it's a much more controlled sort of format. And I obviously want to expand that outside of DayZ as well, as I had been dabbling in. I did the Spotlight on Scum, the Spotlight on
Taviana, wasn't it?
Yeah, Taviana, the Origins, and just showing what else is going on in this amazing genre of survival games. Lad will have access to the Twitter as well to post up for podcast related stuff. But the Twitter is 87.8 Survivor FM, so it's going to be for everything. So we're working all this out behind the scenes, and we're going to work out what we're going to do with the videos and all the rest of it. The revenue, merch, and all the rest of it.
All those details will be hashed out. We'll keep you guys in the loop. We'll update you every single episode. And who knows what will happen when it comes to the applications. Time to create a podcast parody account. Go for it. But
not months, we're talking weeks.
But when it comes to the applications, I haven't quite come up with an idea for that as of right now. We've only just recently hashed out the details on the hosts and kind of like the plan that I want for what kind of host. When it comes to applications, I will announce when they are open. We do have a few names in mind, which I kind of want to go through with Boydie. So we'll go through that list and then we'll keep you guys updated and see what happens.
Just so everyone knows, we are Scale Speeder because he would be the dream come true for the console side of things, but sadly he just doesn't have the time with his own very successful channel and family and all the rest of it. I also reached out to Asmondian, and as typical, he cucked me. Left me with blue balls. He would be a dream come true as well. We reached out to Wobo. He would be a dream come true as well. But we asked these people just in case they were interested, because they're god tier people. Don Sibley will never come back. He's TikTok famous. It's proving. We want to make sure we keep this same awesome dynamic, but we really want to focus on a better coverage across the board. That's the main thing. Console is really the main thing. We want someone with that console knowledge, and if they had understanding of the modding that consoles creators or modders are doing as well, would be even better. Because like you said, Echo, there's a lot of people out there playing on the car. Well, there's probably more people playing on console than there are on PC now. There was a lot of angst back in the day when they first started talking about console, wasn't there, Echo? Like, it's going to ruin it. Yeah. It hasn't ruined it. If anything, it's enhanced the game. It's brought in so many more people to this amazing game that we all love and hate, DayZ.
I would say most of my stream are probably console players, actually. We have a ton of people in the stream who are console players.
Yeah, same here.
And they're all jealous. And it's led to so many people, like we all did back in the day, Echo, bought a PC so we could play DayZ. There are so many people still to this day buying a PC so they can play modded DayZ.
Yeah, 100%.
We hope we do too, Dump Grub. We hope we do too. We're really wanting to take the show to that next format. It's doing better than ever. It's not that I'm leaving it because it's doing bad. It's growing the fastest it's ever grown, but it's just it's time for a change. Echo needed the change and she stepped away from DayZ, and then she needed the change again. She's come back to DayZ.
You always adapt.
Yep. Improvise, adapt, and overcome. One of my favourite sayings.
Yep.
Awesome.
What?
Spotlights, lad.
Spotlights. Well, obviously, there's the dude Thor again. Congratulations to you as well.
I know,
absolutely
right?
Fantastic.
That's awesome.
I'm so my fucking heart. Holy shit. I have been very, very busy as of this week. with work. There's been a lot of stuff going on at work. We've got a lot of stuff prepped. Obviously, I can't talk about that because it's all secret. But really, really exciting stuff there. So unfortunately, I don't really have a spotlight this week. I am sorry.
Marks?
Not really. It's been a quiet week. It's been a quite couple of weeks, to be honest. I've been playing Essiker recently again. I hadn't really played it since it launched, and even though the map hasn't really extended or nothing, its development has basically stopped for it. It's still probably one of the best modded maps out there, and it's only like a quarter finished, and it's crazy to see.
It's such a good map.
It is. Really is. It really is. I wish it was still developed, but yeah, hopefully one day we can cross our fingers. But I give it to that. But otherwise, yeah, and actually, somebody was just talking about frame rate, and the frame rate on Esker has been completely fixed since it was on day one, or like when it first came out. When it first came out, you barely got 40 FPS going into the main city, and now I don't have an issue at all, which is good to see. So that's mine.
My spotlight for this week is someone who's actually in chat.
Project Lemons.
We need to look at getting, or you're going to need to look at getting them on as a guest in the future, I think, lad. Some amazing stuff happening over on console. Stuff that they're pushing the boundary of what you can do with maps. Let me just bring it up.
I have seen Project Lemons around a lot, so I'm happy to see it.
Yeah, I spoke to Project Lemons. I think it was Project Lemons about it. Yeah, and I'm really excited. I mean, obviously, I don't play on console. I don't even have a modern console anymore. Yeah, but I'm really excited to see what these guys have got going for their players. Really, really exciting. And like I said before, it's also really, really awesome to see what the folks on console can do with the tools that they have. Obviously, with the DayZ modding, we have so much access to a lot of different things. But yeah, so really, really excited to see what they got going. Looking forward to it.
And just doing a lot of really good positive stuff on Twitter as well. We all know how much of a toxic cesspool Twitter can be at times, but they're getting out there, they're sharing stuff, they're looking to boost people, and it's just, I'm really happy, and it's good seeing console getting some love.
Yeah.
Finally.
And I can't help but say, Project Lemons went into Rev's stream and he accidentally called him Projectile Mondays, misreading the name, and I can't get it out of my head. Every time I see it, I just think of Projectile Mondays.
Projectile Mondays.
So yeah, he accidentally called him Projectile Mondays, and I just I can't get it out of my head. But obviously, I'm not a console player at all, but I love to see the intermingling of a console and PC community, just everybody kind of hanging out. So
there was actually, speaking of console, Scotty, the DayZ, what's his full role? Social media manager, a brand manager.
Yes, he's a brand manager.
PR brand manager.
Yeah, he tweeted at me and DM'd me on Discord during the week, and there's a set of servers on PlayStation called Conquest, DayZ Conquest, very popular servers over there. And Scotty has played them on PlayStation quite a lot, and they just made the announcement during the week as well that they are now have servers on Xbox as well. So they have servers across all the console platforms now as well.
Yep.
And I completely forgot about it until I just checked Twitter there. But so if you want to play servers, DayZ Conquest, they have new servers on Xbox, and they already had them on PlayStation. And I've only heard good things about them, so shout that out as well.
Yep. When Scotty speaks highly of you, it says a lot about you.
Yeah, too right.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are done. Echo, an honour. to have you on.
Thank
I was
you.
very happy when you accepted my invitation. Been a fan for a long, long time, mate. You know, you go back to, as I said, the golden age of DayZ for me back when it was a simpler time back then.
Yeah. I really do appreciate it. Kind of what we were saying before is, you know, I was coming back into a community that was my home, but it's a different place now. And I'm very grateful for everybody welcoming me back with open arms. Everybody's been so kind. And obviously, you know, you guys are doing a great thing, showing so many different people of the community and parts of the game and community. And so thank you for wanting to have me on your show.
Thank you for coming on, mate. It was a pleasure, and as I said, an honour as well.
Thank you.
And don't worry about those misogynistic fucking fools, mate. They just, yeah.
We'll
idiots.
Well, I think we've got a strong army against them, so we'll make it through it.
Too right. Too right. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you, getting to know you, and
same.
Don't be a stranger. You're always welcome to come back.
Thank you, guys.
We never removed the role.
Not months, we're talking weeks.
We've had many people. Project Lemon, thank you once again for the donation there, buddy. But we never removed the role, and it's always a case of, you know, we leave people in here, and we've had many a time when people have just poked their head in to, you know, chuck some input onto a topic or stuff like that. So if you're ever watching and there's something that you feel passionate about, you want to talk about, you just jump back in. It happens all the time. Dumpgra's usually our main one who loves to jump in, but he always has something good to contribute, and that's why we do it the way we do. We do things a little bit differently around here.
I love it.
Next week's guest is a rescheduled one, Half Goblin. So next week's episode is going to be our console-themed episode, where we're going to try and focus as much as possible on console-related topics, and Half Goblin will be coming on. Essica-themed console map.
Yeah, it looks kind of cool. I've seen some screenshots on it.
Yeah. So it's not just Project Lemon doing some amazing stuff. But yeah, so I'm excited to be able to showcase what he's doing, and I've seen some of the footage of it, and flooded areas, and just it's quite interesting. Quite interesting. The poor buggers over there on console, they're doing some absolutely fucking amazing stuff with the limited tools at their disposal.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll be talking about that next week, March 19th, same time, same channels as always, folks. So yeah, console is popping off.
Fucking right.
That's good.
Echo, thank you for improving the aesthetics of the stream for a bit. You know, people get sick and tired of staring at mine and Lad's face, and Mark's is just sick of the criticism that we all receive. He just turns his camera off these days. So it was nice to have someone much more attractive on the show for our viewers.
Thank you. This is the first time I've gotten ready in probably like 3 months. So this is the one time I'm showing my face, and it's back to no camera stream.
Well, there you go.
Thank you, guys.
All the best, mate. So,
it's a pleasure.
All right. Take care. I'll
see you all next week. Say bye-bye.
Bye.
See you later.
Take care.
And ciao for now.